Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto was abandoned by his team and betrayed during the Forest of Death part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto had a childhood friend, a girl with white hair named Yukino. They did everything together and Naruto started calling her Yuki as a nickname. Also they figured out that she had a Kekkei. She can do ice techniques because one time when Naruto and Yukino were by a huge lake, Yukino almost fell in, but Naruto pulled her to him and that made him almost fall in the water. But when he was about to fall in, the lake turned to ice. They were so surprised that they went to the Hokage to tell him, and so she started training early, and at some point, Naruto had developed feelings for her. But everything changed when she started dating Sasuke Uchiha. They still hung out, but it began to become less and less, and Naruto was heartbroken when he saw Sasuke and Yukino together, and so he tended to put on a mask to hide his true self, and so he became the dead last that everyone thought he was. But despite what he felt, he was truly happy for Yukino even though it hurts a lot. Then Naruto was put on a 4-person team which had Yukino Kiara, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. So they were Team 7 and their sensei was Kakashi Hatake. Fast forward to when they had the wave mission and Sasuke almost died thanks to the hunter Nin, Haku. Both Yukino and Sakura were crying over the Uchiha's body, but when Sasuke opened his eyes, Yukino kissed him right in front of Naruto and Sakura. Naruto's mask slipped for a second before he controlled himself and forced a smile at the two. Sakura on the other hand had to force the two apart. Then when they were back to the village, Kakashi has assigned his team for the Chunin exams, but they were tested by Iruka, their old academy teacher, and they passed. So by the start of the first part of the exam was a paper test which Naruto wasn't happy about, but in the end, Naruto made a speech that if he were to stay a genin, he would strive to become Hokage regardless, and that gave some of the other genin some backbone, and so they passed the first exam. The second part of the exam, well, it didn't go so well. They had to survive in training ground 44, aka the Forest of Death, while trying to get a Heaven or Earth scroll from enemy teams. Then halfway through, enemy teams tried posing as Naruto to try and get their scroll, but failed. Team 7 was then ambushed by a grass ninja, which they now know as Orochimaru, one of the Sannin, who then started his assault on the team, but then they were surprised when they saw he had backup and then put some seal on Naruto's stomach that made him unconscious, then gave Sasuke some kind of hickey. He started screaming in pain when the snake Sannin bit him in his neck. Yukino was about to get Naruto and Sasuke, but more ninjas started appearing. Sasuke saw this, and with the remaining strength he had, he got him and the girls out of there, leaving Naruto behind by himself. Yukino was trying to get Naruto, but there was just too many of them and made the decision to just flee with Sasuke and Sakura. The others didn't know that Naruto was still conscious and saw the whole thing. He even saw Yukino had a look of regret on her face and then turned around to leave him behind before he went unconscious. Naruto was now alone, angry, confused, sad, betrayed, and most of all heartbroken. That his team and most of all Yukino abandoned him to save themselves, but unknown to him this turn of event that have occurred will change his life forever. A long time ago, there is an ancient legend revolving around two figures, the White Maiden of the Sky, represented by the White Cat, and the Black Prince of Darkness, represented by the Black Cat. At the same time, a war between the demons and the Guardians of Light took place, with the demons led by the Black King of Darkness, attacking the lands in the sky. The Black Prince, however, despite the wishes of the Black King, defied his orders and falls in love with the White Maiden, in hopes that their union would end the war. Naruto's mind. Nothing is what Naruto felt at the moment he was staring into the abyss. He didn't know where he was or cared at the moment. He was hurt physically and emotionally, remembering what has transpired a while ago, or well, he lost track of how much time has passed. Flashback. He and his team were starting the second part of the Chunin exams in training ground 44, the Forest of Death. Halfway through they took a break, and while Naruto was away, some enemy teams tried posing as him to get their team's scroll, but failed thanks to Yukino and Sasuke, knowing that wasn't Naruto just by looking at the imposter. While Naruto was stuck in the belly of a snake that ate him, his team was suddenly ambushed by a grass ninja, and so starting attacking. Both Yukino and Sasuke put up a good fight, but it was futile. That's when Naruto appeared trying to help but was shocked and angry when Sasuke was going to give the scroll to the enemy ninja so that they can escape. While Sasuke was throwing the scroll to the ninja, Naruto jumped and caught the scroll and put it to his weapon pouch. Sasuke started yelling at Naruto to stop being an idiot, but was caught off guard when Naruto sucker punched him in the face, sending him back to his other teammates, who were also surprised of what Naruto had done. Naruto then said Sasuke was an imposter because of the way he acted, saying he was a coward running running away instead of facing it head-on. Just then the grass ninja summoned a snake and was now charging at the Uchiha, along with the rest of Naruto's teammates. As the ninja was almost there, Naruto got in the way and stopped the snake from advancing towards his teammates. Yukino, Sasuke, and Sakura was shocked when Naruto stopped the snake that was in front of them with two kunai in hand, stabbing the snake in his face area. Next Naruto looked up at the shocked faces of his teammates. Yukino, Sasuke, and Sakura were looking at Naruto, whose facial features have changed now. His hair looked wild. He had fangs and had red eyes with a slit in the middle. His whisker marks were darker than before. Naruto then started throwing punches at the snake, sending it back. The others were shocked about the strength Naruto possessed and was wondering if this was Naruto. Just then the female grass ninja's long tongue wrapped Naruto up and lifted him up. Naruto tried to break free, but then felt enormous pain coming from his stomach. He looked down at what happened and sees a second seal on his stomach. Then the snake let him go. Naruto was heading to the ground, but Yukino threw a kunai that made Naruto stick to a tree and was now dangling. Just then Sasuke got his act together and was now engaging in the fight with the grass ninja unknown to them. Naruto was just barely hanging on to his consciousness and was watching the whole thing. After Sasuke sent a new fire jutsu towards the grass ninja, their skin started to peel off and was met with a face that had green reptilian eyes. He then extended his neck out and bit Sasuke's neck, resulting in Sasuke screaming in pain and giving him a strange mark on his neck. Naruto tried to move, but he couldn't. He was barely hanging on. After that he left, saying Sasuke would seek him out to gain power. Yukino and Sakura quickly went to Sasuke's side and holding his hand to try and soothe the pain to no avail, while Naruto just slightly watched. Just then a couple of sound ninja appeared and started engaging in a fight. Naruto's team, which wasn't looking good for them. Seeing that fire were being overwhelmed, Sasuke said to the two kunoichi that they have to retreat. The two girls nodded and Yukino tried to get Naruto, but Sasuke held her back, saying that they have to leave him behind. Yukino was shocked that her boyfriend would say that and replied that they can't just leave him, and tried in vain to get out of Sasuke's grip, but couldn't and saw more enemy ninja coming towards them. Yukino looked at Naruto with her teeth, clench a look of regret, and left with Sasuke and Sakura. Not knowing Naruto was watching the whole time, then he fell unconscious. End of flashback. After that Naruto didn't know where he was just looking at the void, nothing but darkness as he was being drifted away in his mind. Why? Naruto thought. His eyes were dull, showed no emotion. Pain like this wasn't anything new to him, he had experienced it all his life. This was, however, the first time he felt so betrayed and alone. Yukino was his childhood friend and crush, and just seeing that she abandoned him has left a scar in his heart. Naruto then started to look at his surroundings. Black, that's all he saw. Just an endless abyss. Naruto started to sit up a little and stand up, but a little shaky. He then looked around again to see if he can find something, but still pitch black. Step. Naruto quickly turned around on only to see nothing. Naruto was looking cautiously at his surroundings. Step. Naruto turned around again only to see yet again nothing. He was slowly walking backwards, keeping his guard up. Step. Naruto turned around again, but to now see a boy with black hair with a little bit of red going down. He was taller than him, but noticeable thing about him is he had black and red wings. He was dressed up unusual too, but he can't say anything cause he's wearing an orange jumpsuit, while the taller boy is wearing a black outfit that looked like a trench coat with some red on it. He also had some type of armor on, which Naruto thought was cool. He was also wearing black gloves with red knuckle guards, but something wasn't right. The figure had like a black and red aura around him, but it wasn't like evil or bad. Still Naruto called out to the figure, "Hello?" The figure didn't say anything or move, but he was looking at a certain direction with longing. Hello?" Silent again, he didn't move or acknowledge Naruto's words. Getting upset, Naruto was about to go over to him, but stopped and saw what he was looking at. It was a girl with silver white hair, and she too was dressed unusual. Again he can't say anything, and the noticeable thing is she had white feathered wings. She was wearing a white and silver-like dress with armor plates on her chest, but something is different with her too. She's generating a type of aura around herself the same as the black-haired figure, but hers is white and blue. Naruto tried to call out, but then she vanished in front of him. Then he looked back at the black-hair figure, and he was still fire looking at the spot where the girl disappeared. "Did you know her?" Naruto asked. This time he got a reaction, but it was just a slight nod, but it was something. What was her name? The figure stayed silent again, but then he turned to Naruto, who got a look at his face. He had green eyes staring down at him, then all of a sudden he vanished just like the girl. Now he was alone again in the dark. "Hey, wait." Naruto yelled, but was too late, he was gone. Naruto just stood there without knowing what to do. Just then a reddish black orb manifested and was coming near Naruto, who just looked at it. Naruto doesn't know why, but he feels drawn to it somehow, so he slowly walks towards it and reaches his hand for it. When he touches it, Naruto's body began to shake violently as he starts to get what look like memories of a floating island in the clouds and the earth. He also sees the two figures he saw before, but they were young, and something about a promise. He then starts to get a whole bunch of knowledge, but it begins to be too much as he clutches his head in pain as he absorbed the information he is getting after that he just sangs to the ground wide-eyed at what he was giving. Just then he hears footsteps coming towards him and lifts his head slightly to see the black-haired figure again looking down on him. "I'm counting on you, Naruto Uzumaki, now wake up." Just then Naruto blacks out. Forest of Death. Black clouds surrounded the sky and started raining in the Forest of Death then. Naruto eyes suddenly open and in replace of his usual blue fire, now green as he is enveloped by a dark light that shines up in the air. Unknown location. There was a white-haired female with purple eyes was soaring through the rain in the sky with a pair of white feathered wings when she suddenly stopped and turned around to where a pillar of dark light shined in the air to the dark clouds. "What's happening?" she said when a manifestation of another female with silver white hair with the same pair of white feathered wings stood aside the other female. "He has awakened," the other female said. "Wait, you mean?" she was about to say when the other female nodded with a loving smile on her face. "Yes, the Dark Prince, my beloved, has finally awakened." There was a legend of two figures. A noble white cat sat upon the throne in the sky. One day a black cat looked up from the mud of the surface, saw her and fell in love. Unknown location. The two females were still looking at the direction of the black pillar of light while the rain was still falling on their heads. "What do you want to do, Iris?" "Should we go to him?" the female said looking at the other female now named Iris. Iris was thinking of what to do. Her beloved is finally awakened and she wanted to see him again after so long. But she looked down with a sad expression as she remembered something. "As much as I want to, we can't not yet anyway," Iris said. "But why don't you want to see him?" asked the other female in confusion. Iris looked at her partner with a sad smile and said, "Of course I do, Celeste, but remember when you first awakened to our power, I couldn't manifest for quite a while. I only got to speak to you in your mind, so if we go now, my beloved's partner will be confused as to know who we are and might try to attack us," Iris calmly stated. The other female now named Celeste made an O expression as she remembered, but then turned to confusion to the last part. "Why would he attack us?" Celeste said. "Me and my beloved powers are opposite to each other. As of right now his partner is not in the right state of mind. As of now," Iris explained, while looking at the dark light that's starting to fade. Celeste just nodded to her friend partners at her explanation. "Was I like that? I don't remember anything at the time, only bits and pieces of it." Iris nodded. "Yes you were, but you had only little control of it, that's why you remember some of it," Iris explained. Celeste nodded looking down in thought. "Will the same thing happen to his partner?" Celeste said looking up at the almost faded dark light. "It's hard to say really, it depends on my beloved's partner," she said, then sticked out her arms and light particles were forming in her hand and a silhouette of a white cat is formed. Then it manifested in Iris's arms as she was trying to cover the cat so it doesn't get wet. The white cat then opened its eyes and looked at Iris. "Yes, Iris," the white cat said. "Patra, I need you to look after my beloved's partner for me, can you do that?" Iris explained to the white cat whose eyes widened after hearing what she said. "He's awake." "Yay," Catra said while jumping for joy. The two girls giggled at the cat's actions. "It's understandable." "Yes he is and I need you to look after him for the time being." "You're not going to see him?" Catra asked confused. "As of right now we're not, but we will at some point," Celeste said to the cat. Catra looked at Iris and she just nodded. "You can count on me, Iris, Celeste, I'll look after him, don't you worry." Catra saluted to the two girls which made them giggle again. "We're counting on you, Catra, be careful now, right?" Then the cat disappeared in white particles heading towards the now faded dark energy as the two girls just watched. "We should be going now, there's much to prepare for when we see him," Iris said looking at Celeste. "Alright." She then flew off while Iris disappeared herself. Hokage Tower. A few minutes earlier. Sigh. Damn paperwork. The third Hokage, Hiruzen Saratobi, was in his office doing paperwork like always, then looked at the pictures on the wall of the previous Hokage. "How did you all do it?" he thought while he sighed again continuing his work. Knock, knock. Just then there was a knock on the door. Hiruzen looked up and said to the person to come in. When the door opened, Anko Mitarashi, the second instructor for the Chunin exams, came in with two of her subordinates. "Ah, Anko, what can I do you for?" "I came to give you a report on the Chunin exams and what we found in the forest," Hokage-sama Anko said. Hiruzen was now in Hokage mode with a serious expression as he straightened up in his seat, giving his full attention to the female Kunoichi. "As of right now one team from the Sand Village has made it to the tower already, while the rest is still in the forest," she said. This information surprised Hiruzen. From the previous Chunin exams, there has never been a team that got to the tower on the first day before. It seems the Sand Village has a good crop this year," he said looking down. "Yes, it seems so, but there's something else as well," replied Anko. Hiruzen looked up again to listen. "We found 3 dead corpses without a face as if they were melted off." We found out that they are ninja from the hidden village of grass who registered for the Chunin exams, Anko informed Hiruzen while touching her neck looking down. Let me see your application, he ordered. One of the two ninjas presented a folder to Hiruzen, who opened it and looked inside. After a bit he closed it and looked down in thought. Hiruzen was thinking about the information he was given, and judging by the way Anko was acting he has an idea who is behind of this. Anko, I want you to, he was about to say when a huge burst of power enveloped all of Konoha, making the two ninjas beside Anko start to breath heavily. Okajama, you need to see this. An Anbu with a cat mask appeared in front of Hiruzen, bowing. Pat. What's going on? Hiruzen said, standing up. I don't know, Hokage-sama. All of a sudden a black beam went up to the air in the forest of death, the Anbu informed. Hiruzen and Anko quickly went to the window and looked outside to see a barely noticeable black beam. Because of the rain cloud shooting up in the air, even though it was a good distance away from them, they can still feel the raw strength coming from whatever it's coming from, even so this can't be ignored. Let an Anbu squat in the forest of death and find out what that is now. Hiruzen ordered his Anbu. Yes, Hokage-sama. The Anbu nodded and vanished. As for you, Anko, I'll have you handle this since you're responsible for the second exam and I'm pretty sure you have an idea who is behind it, right? He asked. Yes, Hokage-sama, but why do you think I can do it? Anko questioned. You are one of my trusted and most skilled kunoichi. I trust you that you can handle it, he said with a warm smile. Yes. Hokage-sama, I won't fail you, Anko said, then disappeared. Hiruzen nodded, then looked out the window again to see a now non-existent black energy and wondering what to make of all of this. Forest of Death. The remaining members of Team 7 were now taking shelter from the rain in a big trunk of a tree that they found, while Sasuke was unconscious with a wet rag on his forehead. Sakura was the only one taking care of him despite her injuries, and Yukino just sat away from them, not even helping her boyfriend as she was thinking what she has done. You could help, you know, Sakura said behind Yukino. Sorry, just got a lot on my mind right now, Yukino replied, standing up and walking over to her two teammates. What's wrong? Sakura asked. I'm just worried about Naruto, she replied. Why? Yukino looked at Sakura in confusion. What do you mean why? We left him in the forest alone, she stated. You should focus on Sasuke right now. Naruto can take care of himself, Sakura said simply, but Yukino narrowed her eyes. What's that supposed to mean? She asked. All I'm saying is, as Sasuke's girlfriend, he should be your top priority right now, instead of thinking about another boy, she replied. Excuse me? I'm going to worry about Naruto regardless, he's my childhood friend and I care for him, Yukino replied angrily. Whatever, if I was Sasuke's girlfriend I wouldn't stop until he was all better, Sakura stated. Well, hate to break it to you, but he's not. Look, I'm not arguing with you, tomorrow morning we're looking for Naruto after Sasuke is better, Yukino said with no room to argue. Sakura just nodded while looking with Sasuke with worry. I'm sorry, it's just with all that's happened I'm just worked up, Sakura said. I'm sorry too, I'm just worried for both Naruto and Sasuke, Yukino said, apologizing. Do you think Naruto will forgive us for leaving him? Yukino asked, worried, but Sakura just smiled and looked at her worried teammate. Come on, it's Naruto we're talking about, he'll forgive us for sure, Sakura tried to reassure, but unknown to both of them. Yukino smiled at that. Thank you, Sakura. Just then there was a burst of power that forced the two females on their knees. This power, what's it coming from, Yukino thought, trying to stand up, but having difficulties. She then switched her gaze to Sakura, who wasn't faring any better. She was breathing uncontrollable. Just then she looked up and sees pillar of dark energy. The burst of power only went for a few minutes before the pillar of dark energy faded away. What was that? Sakura said, trembling. Yukino didn't reply, but narrowed her eyes at the direction of the dark energy that resided. We need to be careful, Yukino said to Sakura, who just nodded, shaking. Sakura, I'm counting on you to take care of Sasuke while I set some traps and get us some food. Alright, but are you sure it's still raining? Sakura asked. Yeah, plus we can't fight on an empty stomach, right? She asked. Sakura just shook her head in the negative. Alright, but be careful, okay? Yukino nodded and vanished while Sakura stayed to take care of Sasuke. Please be okay, Naruto, Yukino thought. Time skip. A few hours later the rain finally stopped, leaving at nighttime in the forest of death, and Yukino and Sakura were eating some fish that Yukino had got from a lake nearby. Now Yukino was taking watch while Sakura rested for a bit, which she wished she was in her position right now as she was trying to stay awake. I can't sleep yet, she thought, trying to keep her eyes open, maybe just for a little bit, she thought as she slowly closed her eyes. Yukino's dream. Dreamy, Yukino slowly opened her eyes, blinking a few times. Looks like I dozed off, Yukino thought, rubbing her eyes. Just then she heard shuffling coming from behind her and looked to see Sakura and Sasuke waking up, which she smiled. Sasuke, you're awake, thank goodness, Sakura said happily. I'm glad you're okay, Yukino said. Did you two take care of me? Thank you, he said while taking the wet rag off his forehead. Actually, Sakura is the one that took care of you while I went to set up traps and food. Sasuke looked at his girlfriend, then to Sakura with a small smirk. Thank you, Sakura, I owe you one, Sasuke said. Sakura blushed thanks to his comment. You're welcome. Oh. Speaking of which, we still have some fish left, are you hungry? Sakura asked. Just then Sasuke's stomach growled, making the girls giggled and him blush out of embarrassment. Yukino walked over to the leftover fish and gave Sasuke one. Here you go. Thanks, he replied. You're welcome, and after you eat we have to go find Naruto, Yukino said. Alright, Sasuke said, looking down, and started to eat. After Sasuke ate his food they were about to go when they heard shuffling from the bushes and they took out a kunai and went to a battle stance. Who's there? Sasuke shouted. The shuffle started again and out came Naruto. Indeed, Naruto came out of the bushes all brussed up and began to breathing heavily and coughing. Then Naruto looked at Yukino, Sasuke, and Sakura, who were looking at him with wide eyes. Naruto smiled weakly and raised his hand. Hey guys, cough cough, Naruto said, then started coughing. Naruto, they said, then rushed towards him who was about to fall, but thanks to Yukino she caught him. Yukino had tears in her eye from happiness, glad that Naruto was okay. She slowly let Naruto down on his back. Naruto, I'm so glad you're okay, Yukino said while hugging him gently. Looks like you made it, you dope, Sasuke said with crossed arms and a smirk. Of course I'm okay, it'll take a lot to get me down, Naruto declared, making Yukino giggle at him, then wore a somber expression. What's wrong, Yukino? He asked, confused. Yukino looked at Naruto, who wore a confused expression. Naruto, I'm sorry. Yukino apologized, looking down. For what? He asked, still confused. We left you there all by yourself. Well, we only left you with those sound ninja, so I'm sorry, Yukino explained. Naruto didn't say anything for a bit. Then Yukino, I'm not upset or anything, I forgive you. I'm just glad that you're safe and that's important to me. Yukino blushed at Naruto's words and smiled at him. I'm so glad, thank you, Naruto, she said happily. No problem, by the way, I'm hungry. Do you guys have any food or anything? Naruto said with a smile of his own. Yeah, I'll go get it for you. Yukino went to get the leftover fish, and when she looked back she saw that Sasuke and Sakura were talking with Naruto, but behind him was Orochimaru with a sinister smile on his face. Yukino dropped the food and started running towards her team. That's when Orochimaru jumped and his hands turned into snakes that shot for Naruto. Yukino tried to scream at them, but couldn't as she continued to run with all her might, while her white hair waved wildly in the air. But every time she would get close to them, her teammates would get farther away from her, while the snakes kept advancing towards Naruto. Then she saw the snakes latched onto Naruto's arms as he was being pulled away into a dark void behind him. Yukino tried to yell out with tears in her eyes but was still silent. She saw Naruto with a horrified expression as he was trying to get away, but couldn't. When he was about to go into the void, a giant snake swallowed him whole, while Yukino just stared wide eyes as she was just left alone. Then everything turned black. End of dream. Naruto, Yukino shouted while jolting up, waking Sakura up in the process. Yukino was staring wide-eyed with tears coming down her face as she was looking down, thinking what she just saw. Yukino, what's wrong? Why did you scream? Sakura asked the now shaking Yukino. I saw and Naruto. Yukino couldn't finish her sentence as she just closed her eyes, trying to stop her tears from falling. Sakura just hugged Yukino from behind, trying to console her. Naruto is going to be fine, you'll see, she said, trying to calm down her friend. Yukino slowly stood up and nodded towards her. Thanks, Sakura. Yukino smiled at her friend. Shuffle. The two girls heard shuffling from the bushes behind them and got in a fighting stance, but Yukino then remembered her dream and dropped her guard down slightly. The little squirrel then jumped out of the bushes and ran towards the girls, much to Sakura's relief and to Yukino's disappointment. Yukino then sees the squirrel is too close to the trap she laid down and throws a kunai to scare it off to make sure it doesn't trigger. Yukino sighed. That was close, she thought. Why did you do that? Sakura asked. The mouse was too close to my traps, it would have triggered if it got too close, Yukino replied. Sakura made a hum noise and just nodded. I thought for sure that would work. Do you think she saw the paper bomb we put on the squirrel? A voice said. No, that wasn't it, said another voice. And then what was it? What are you thinking? I'm thinking we should get closer and find out, said the voice again. So let's get going. Both Yukino and Sakura were trying to stay awake to keep watch, but was proving to be very difficult in their state right now. Just then they heard a familiar voice. Some look out, you both are half asleep. At least you both don't have to keep watch anymore. What's the point when we already found you? Now wake Sasuke up, we want to fight him. You guys again? Sakura said while standing up. There were three ninjas with a song note headband from when they fought with Orochimaru. They're the ones that made them separate from Naruto. Where is Naruto? What did you do to him? Yukino said, standing up as well and going into a fighting stance. Oh? You mean that blonde teammate of yours? We don't know what happened to him, nor do we care, we're just here for Sasuke, replied one of the sound ninja. Plus we saw what happened. You guys abandoned him all on his own. At this point it won't surprise me if he despises you all now, said the female sound ninja, giggling at the end. Why, you bastards, Yukino thought. What are you saying? What is it you're after? I know Orochimaru is calling the shots from the shadows. What's that strange mark behind Sasuke's neck? Sakura asked. What? Well, I can't stay quiet after hearing you talk to us like that. Once I'm done with you both I'm going to kill Sasuke. Wait, Zaku. Why? The ninja named Zaku said. So predictable. This is the color of dirt that's just been dug up, and this kind of grass doesn't grow in a place like this. You know if you are going to lay a trap there's no point if it's not actually hidden, the sound ninja said. DCH Sakura clenched her teeth. How pitiful, that kunai was so the squirrel wouldn't be caught in the trap. Zaku said. Yukino didn't say anything but just looked down, putting her hands on the ground. Now let's get this over with. The three sound ninja jumped towards the two kunoichi, then Sakura pulled a kunai out and cut a thin piece of wire with a smirk that made a big log come down from above on the sound ninja. The log? She laid one from above, watch out. As the log was about to come in contact with him, the one with the blue jacket smirk at it and lifted his arm up. Just kidding little girl, then the huge log exploded. Clearly you have no talent as a ninja, some like you needs more effort, don't you think, the sound ninja said. Yukino was still looking down with her hands on the ground, but with a small smirk on her face and whispered ice style. Icicle chains. Clank, clank, clank. Then some chains made of ice came up from the ground, surprising the three sound ninja who couldn't get away as the chains wrapped around fire legs and slammed them to the ground. Bam. After the sound ninja crashed to the ground it made a dust of smoke. What was that? Didn't you just say that a trap isn't good enough if it wasn't hidden? Yukino said, looking up as the smoke cleared to see the three injured sound ninja. But how? You didn't use any hand signs, Zaku said in pain. It's simple, I knew you were watching us the whole time, Yukino stated. Flashback. Sakura, I need you to remain calm, Yukino said as she looked down at the ground. What do you mean, Sakura asked. We're being watched right now, Yukino stated to Sakura, who was wide-eyed. We are, she stuttered out. Yukino nodded and was making hand signs. Yes, now I need you to listen to me. I have a plan, Yukino said, looking up after finishing. Sakura nodded and paid attention. Alright, here's what we'll do. End of flashback. I see, well now we know not to underestimate you, the other sound ninja said. Well, the three just smirked. The three ninja poofed and turned into logs, surprising the two girls as they looked up and see the three sound ninja above them about to attack. Leaf Hurricane, said a familiar voice. Just then a green blur was seen as the figure kicked away the three sound ninja, sending them back. As the figure landed in the front of the two girls they now see it's Rock Lee of Team Guy. Triple teaming on two girls are the most unyouthful, Lee stated to the sound ninja, getting into a taijutsu stance. What? This guy? Sakura thought. Who are you? The sound ninja said. I'm the handsome devil of the Leaf Village, and my name is Rock Lee. What are you doing here, Lee? Sakura asked from behind. I will always appear when and where you are in trouble, Sakura Lee said. But right now we're your enemy, Sakura said. That doesn't matter right now, I vow to protect you with my life, Lee stated. Oh thank you, Rock Lee. Yukino looked to the side of her to see Lee crying tears of joy with a smile while his fist is balled. The sight made her sweat drop. It looks like I have no choice. Zaku will let you have Sasuke, the sound ninja said while giving Zaku the scroll and charging at Lee. Just then the female sound ninja charged towards Yukino and began to fight with her. Do you really think you and that boy can defeat us? Asked the sound ninja. We won't know unless we try, right? Yukino countered as she kneed the female in the stomach and punched her, sending her back. Primary Lotus, Lee shouted. The two girls stopped and see Lee and the other sound ninja in the air, spinning very fast heading towards the ground. Zaku made some hand signs and put his hands to the ground where something was being pushed into the dirt heading towards the duo. Bam. Lee and the other sound ninja made contact with the ground as Lee jumped back to get some space. As the dust cleared the other sound ninja was in the ground head first, but the dirt looked to be softer somehow. Yukino was hit from behind by a powerful air blast. You should pay attention to your opponents, Zaku said. Yukino narrowed her eyes and flashed through hand signs too. Ice style. Frozen wind. The cold burst of air shot from Yukino's arms and heading towards Zaku, but he just sent another blast of air cancelling it out. Yukino looked to see Lee on the ground holding his ear. Lee? Yukino said as she rushed towards him but couldn't get close because of the female sound ninja. Sorry, but you're occupied right now. Get out of my way, Yukino shouted as she flashed another set of hand signs. Ice style. Frozen hail. Little icicles started shooting fast at the female ninja who got sent back and screamed in pain. Yukino looked towards Lee who was protecting Sakura from the other sound ninja. Screeching sound wave. As she was about to head towards them she then felt a loud screech and clutched her ears in pain as she fell to the ground. Yukino screamed. You're too much of a problem, we'll deal with you later, Zaku said from above her. Yukino tried to look up, but everything was so blurry she can hardly see anything. Sakura yelled. Yukino slowly turned to barely see the female ninja grab Sakura's hair as she yanked it towards her. Yukino tried to get up but is having trouble. You can forget about moving for a while, it's useless, Zaku stated while walking towards where Sasuke is. Yukino tried in vain to stand up, but no matter how hard she tried she couldn't. Slice. Yukino looked to see Sakura cut her hair with a kunai in her hand. Everyone was surprised by this turn of events that they only stayed still. Next Sakura started to fight Zaku by using the substitution jutsu and managed to stab him with a kunai and started to bite his arm while he hit her head with the other. Sakura, Yukino thought, trying to get up but still can't, but her eyesight is better now so she can see clearly. Finally the sound ninja got Sakura off of him and was about to attack, but soon Team 10 stood in front of Sakura. You know? But why? Sakura said stunned. I'm not going to let you and Yukino hog all the glory now, am I? Ino said. Man, this is so troublesome, Shikamaru said in a lazy manner. Oh great, they are coming like cockroaches, the sound ninja said. Are you too crazy? What are we doing here? These guys are bad news, man, Choji said scared. Don't look at me, it was Ino's idea. But what are we supposed to do? Let's just sit back and let a girl do all the fighting, Shikamaru said. Be sorry to drag you both into this, but we are a three-man squad, right? Ino said nervously. Yeah, what's meant to happen will, Shikamaru replied. This ain't teamwork, I call this suicide, Choji said while trying to escape. Be better a live sheep than a dead lion, right Fatso, the sound ninja said without knowing what he had done. There was silence for a few seconds while Shikamaru just looked at Choji nervously. Did I get that right? What did that guy just say? You want to try saying that again, Choji said a little to calm. Yeah, whatever, fatty, the sound ninja said again. Who are you calling fat? I am just a little chubby uok. Choji yelled out. Chubby's for ver. Everyone had a sweat drop at that, while Yukino was just watching, not knowing how to process this. By the way, where's Naruto at? Shouldn't he be here with you, Shikamaru asked Sakura behind him, while Ino and Choji were shocked because they haven't noticed the blonde yet. Both Sakura and Yukino stiffened at the question that was presented. We don't know where he is. When we got ambushed we got separated, Sakura lied, hoping that was enough, which seemed to do the trick for Ino and Choji. But Shikamaru narrowed his eyes a little, but let it go for now. But Choji's spirit ignited. Team 10 began to battle the sound ninja with Chaja's human boulder technique and Shikamaru's shadow possession jutsu and Ino's mind transfer jutsu. When Ino changed minds with a female sound ninja named Kin, she tried to threaten her life, but proved to be futile, as they said that if push comes to shove, they will kill her. Shikamaru sighed while holding Ino. Oh man, what a drag. Yeah, no kidding, Choji said. Did you really think you could beat us? Face it, you ninja are just a bunch of hacks, Saku stated. From a second-rate village, said the other sound ninja. Just then they heard a voice from above them in the trees. Huh, that's pretty tough talk. I guess that makes your village third-rate. I wonder if any of you amateurs are ready to take on the real thing. Everyone looked up to see Niji with his arms crossed, and beside him was Tenten, who was looking at Lee. It's Lee's team, it's about time they got here, Yukino thought. It looks like someone used our teammate as a punching bag. No one does that and gets away with it, Niji said, activating his Byakugan and looking at everyone. This put everyone on edge as he was looking directly through them, thanks to his bloodline limit. Just then Niji deactivated his Byakugan out of surprise. This chakra, Niji thought. What wrong, Niji? Tenten said beside him. Well, are you going to stay up there all day or are you going to come down here and do something about it? The sound ninja said. Actually, it looks like it been taken out of my hands, Niji said, confusing everyone, but then they heard a sinister voice behind them. Yukino, Sakura. Both Yukino and Sakura turned to the voice to see Sasuke is up, but something is off with him. Sasuke. You're awake, Sakura said happily, but then turned to frightened as she looked at Sasuke with his Sharingan blazing to life with purple chakra surrounding him as he slowly lifted himself up. This scared everyone, including Yukino, who just watched with a frightened expression as she looked at her boyfriend. Sakura, Yukino, who did this to you? Sasuke said with a sinister voice. Who was it? He said with force. This Timwa. Sasuke, what happened to you? Sakura asked, frightened. Sasuke just looked at his hand for a bit, then replied. Don't worry, it's alright, it's only the power flowing through me. In fact, I've never felt better. He gave me this gift and made me understand what I am. I'm an avenger. To follow my path I must have power at any price, even if it means being consumed by evil, Sasuke said. Sakura, tell me which one of these people did this to you, Sasuke said again. That would be me, Zaku said. Sasuke looked at the sound ninja, then turned towards him menacingly as the purple chakra still swirled around him as the marking on his face began to grow. Ino, Choji, get back over here, you don't want to get involved in this, Shikamaru said, which they nodded. Osu, don't tell me you're getting cold feet, are you? Zaku replied. No, Zaku, you don't understand, Dosu said to his teammate. Watch this, I'm going to take care of them in one fell swoop. Supersonic slicing wave, Zaku called out. Yukino tried to get up but still couldn't due to the earlier jutsu. The only thing she can do is watch. Then a huge blast of air came from Zaku's hands, obliterating anything in its path, while the rest braced themselves. Unknown to the people, there a certain figure with green eyes looked towards their direction after that attack and started heading towards their location at very high speeds. Niji felt something, so activated his Byakugan again and looked towards a certain direction. Tenten, who noticed his behavior, looked at him and said, what's wrong, Niji? Niji looked at Tenten, then deactivated his Byakugan. We might have another visitor soon, he said, while Tenten was surprised. What do you know? Blew them all away, Zaku celebrated. Not quite, said Sasuke behind Zaku, who punched Zaku towards Dosu. Just then Sasuke charged at Zaku. Zaku, get down, Dosu cried out, but was too late. Sasuke got behind Zaku and grabbed his arms while putting his leg on his back. Yukino and Sakura watched with horror of how Sasuke was looking at Zaku with a sinister smirk. You seems to be very proud of these arms of yours. You must be. Very attached to them, Sasuke said in a sinister voice that the girls don't even recognize him anymore. Crack. Yukino had her eyes widen for what her boyfriend has done and was literally shaking despite not moving. No, why? Why are you acting like this? As Yukino thought while tears were forming in her eyes. Sasuke slowly turned around towards Dosu, who was shaking by the gaze of the Uchiha. It seems like you're the only one left. I hope you can make things more interesting than your friend did, Sasuke said, walking past Sakura, who was horrified, and towards Dosu. As he was about to get closer to Dosu. No. Sakura screamed and ran towards Sasuke and embracing him from behind. Stop it, Sakura said, cring. Sasuke looked back at Sakura with a menacing glare that made her shiver, but she still stood there embracing him. Stop please, Sakura begged. Sasuke just looked at her for a few moments, then forcibly pushed her off of him, sending her to where Yukino is, who is wide-eyed at what he has done, and it's not just her, everybody is. Don't get in my way again. Sasuke said with a glare towards Sakura and then Yukino. That goes for you too. Sasuke told Yukino, who was shocked to hear this. Sasuke started walking again towards Dosu again when, step, a figure stood in his way again, but this time Sasuke had wide eyes, while everyone else had let out a gasp of surprise to who it was that was standing in Sasuke's way. Sasuke then had a smirk on his face as he addressed the figure. Good to see you're not dead. It seems something happened to you as well, same as me, Sasuke stated. The others were surprised at the arrival of Naruto, but were more surprised with how he has changed a lot to what he was before. Yukino was happy and worried for Naruto, happy because he was okay and safe. She was worried for two reasons, one being his appearance have changed, and one being because Sasuke was not in the right state of mind right now. He could hurt Naruto like he did with Sakura, and so she tried to get up, but slowly. Naruto was just staring at Sasuke with his now green eyes with barely any expression that worried his two female teammates, almost thinking he was possessed. But that's not all. He was now as tall as Sasuke, and his hair is now pitch black with a little bit of red in it. He was still in his jumpsuit, but the colors were different now. Where there was once orange was now black, and where there was blue was now red, the same with his pants and sandals, along with his ninja headband. In the tree, Neji and Tenten was analyzing Naruto from above. He was completely different from when they first saw him. Is this the same idiot from before? Neji said in a whisper. Tenten didn't answer, but rather was looking at the big sword on Naruto's back. The sword was black all over with the edges of the sword are red. The guard and handle had a unique design to it, as the guard had a circle of black spikes with red edges on it, while the inside of the circle was red and the handle was black. That sword has a unique design to it. It not like what the Anbu use. I wonder how he got it. Tenten said, mesmerized at the sword. Neji activated his Byakugan, and what he saw or what he couldn't see shocked him. What? He asked, shocked. This time Tenten looked at her teammate, confused. What's wrong? I can't see, Neji stated. What do you mean can't see? Can't see what? Tenten asked, more confused. His chakra. I can't see through him, he replied, still in shock. This shocked Tenten because Neji's Byakugan is supposed to see the chakra network through anyone and at a far distance away. What? How is that possible? She said while looking at Naruto. I don't know, all I see is black coming from him, Neji said while Tenten looked back confused. Black? Yeah. His whole figure is just black for me, so I can't see through him, but what? Tenten asked. Something isn't right here, Neji said. Back to Naruto and Sasuke, who were just staring at each other not moving, making an intense atmosphere that everyone in the area can feel. Naruto ended the little stare down they had by looking at his surroundings. First he looked at his two teammates who were on the ground clearly bruised and banged up. Yukino and Sakura flinched when Naruto looked at them with his green eyes. They didn't know what happened to Naruto, but the way he looked at them made them feel nervous. He then switched his gaze over to some bushes where Team 10 was. Once they met his gaze they froze on the spot. Oh no, he found us, what do we do? Choji asked, feeling nervous from Naruto. Nothing, just keep calm for now, Shikamaru said. How do you know? I have never seen Naruto like this. What if he attacks us? Ino said, stuttering. Well, she is a good sensor type, she can feel the power Naruto was radiating. It was dark. We have to keep calm. If we make a false move then who knows what Naruto will do. We have to make sure he doesn't see us as a threat, Shikamaru said. Naruto just kept looking at them, which made them even more intense than they already are. Naruto then switched his gaze to Neji and Tenten in the trees, much to Team 10's relief. Tenten and Neji tensed while Naruto looked at them. Apparently he knew where they were from the start. Naruto, Sasuke said, getting Naruto's attention. Naruto looked back at Sasuke, drawing the attention of the other as they wait what will happen next. Do you intend to stand in my way? Sasuke said. Naruto didn't say anything, just kept staring at Sasuke, but did stand his ground, and that was all Sasuke needed to know. Very well, if you intend to stand in my way then you give me no other choice. Sasuke declared as he charged at Naruto in a burst of speed. Sasuke appeared right in front of Naruto and tried to kick him, but Naruto expertly moved out of the way, which surprised Sasuke and the onlookers. Huh? Yukino was surprised. She didn't think her boyfriend would attack one of his teammates over some silly reason, and she was worried for Naruto, but was more surprised when Naruto dodged that high-speed attack. Sasuke tried to deliver a couple of spin kicks, but Naruto just swerved out of the way. Sasuke then tried to deliver a punch, but Naruto stopped him by holding his shoulder, then did a spin kick to Sasuke's stomach, making a small shockwave sending him back to the tree where he was sleeping. Sasuke didn't even have time to react to what just happened. Boom. Sasuke collided with the tree, destroying it because of the impact it had, making a dust cloud in the process. It also surprised the onlookers because of Naruto's strength. Yukino was the most at shock because she knew Naruto better, and just seeing him like this. Naruto, what happened to you? She thought while almost getting on her feet thanks to Sakura. What power? Shikamaru said in awe as Choji was trying to make sure he didn't go flying from the shockwave. Naruto's strength, it's almost unreal, Ino said his shock. Niji's gaze intensified as he was staring at Naruto. Hey, Niji, did that blonde show that kind of strength before? Tenten asked. No, he didn't, Niji said, trying to make sense of the situation. The Uchiha doesn't surprise me with his skills, but that blonde idiot, where did he get that kind of power from? Was he hiding it this whole time? Sasuke rushed out of the dust cloud and continued his barrage of attacks on Naruto, but he kept either dodging or blocking Sasuke's attempts, which started to get on his nerves because he couldn't land a hit. Sasuke then disappeared and reappeared behind Naruto trying to blindside him, but it was futile. Naruto back-flipped over Sasuke's attack and delivered a kick to his back, sending him rolling on the ground, but stopped himself and landed on his feet. Very well then, take this. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Sasuke said as he made the necessary hand signs. What? Yelled both Yukino and Sakura, not believing that Sasuke would even think about using a jutsu on fire teammate. He can't be serious. Shikamaru exclaimed. Oh no. Ino said, fearing for Naruto's safety. I can't watch this. Choji exclaimed, putting his hands in front of his eyes, fearing for the worst outcome. Sasuke unleashed his fire technique as the large ball of fire was going towards Naruto. Yukino was wide-eyed, she didn't want Naruto to get hurt more than he already is, so she began to do some hand signs, but fell down due to her not holding on to Sakura. The fireball was coming closer to Naruto, much to Yukino's horror. Naruto! Yukino shouted out. Naruto stared long and hard at the technique that was coming towards him, not even looking worried as it was getting closer. Naruto then put his hand on the handle of the sword. What will you do now? Niji thought. Slash. Just then the huge fireball split in two as it went past Naruto and exploding behind him, not even flinching as it went by him. This shocked everyone there as they see Naruto had the black and red sword that was on his back in his hands. Now that they got a better look at the sword, it was very intimidating. Whoa. Choji said, surprised. What just happened? Ino said in shock. He cut through the fireball in one slash with that sword. Sigh man, what a drag today is, Shikamaru said, and was relieved that Naruto was okay. Niji, Tenten said. He cut through chakra, Niji said simply. What? Tenten said in complete shock. That sword cut through chakra like it was nothing. Niji said with narrowed eyes at Naruto. Sasuke looked at Naruto, then the sword in his hand with narrowed eyes. He cut through my jutsu in one swing with that sword like it was nothing. He thought. Yukino and Sakura was shocked as everyone else at what happened, but were glad Naruto was okay. Yukino then glared at her boyfriend. What the hell is wrong with you, Sasuke? You could have hurt Naruto. Yukino yelled out as she finally got her bearings together. Naruto looked at Yukino and Sakura for a second to see some tears in their eyes, before looking at Sasuke again, who just ignored her. Sasuke just smirked as the marking on his body spread even further across his face. Well now, it appears you're not just a loser after all, Naruto, Sasuke said as he brought out a kunai from his pouch. This is starting to get my blood pumping. Stop it. Sasuke was about to charge at Naruto, but something held him back. He looked back to see both Yukino and Sakura latching onto him with tears in their eyes, preventing him from getting to Naruto, who just watched the scene of his teammates unfold. Please just stop. You two are teammates, you shouldn't be fighting like this, Sakura said, sobbing. Please just stop, Yukino said while looking at her boyfriend. Her words seemed to snap Sasuke back to his senses as the marking along his body began to recede and return back to his neck as he grunted in pain and fell to the ground with both Sakura and Yukino still held onto him. Sasuke looked around and his gaze looked at Naruto and then remembered what had happened. Naruto didn't seem tired at all, but unlike Sasuke, Naruto is still the same. Naruto lifted up his sword, which made the others flinch, but then relax as he put it on his back. Hey. Boy, Naruto turned around to the voice slowly and then sees one of the sound ninja Dosu, Yukino, Sasuke and Sakura all look up at the sound ninja. You and Sasuke are strong, too strong, especially you. There's no way we can defeat you two at this moment. Dosu then pulled out his Team Earth scroll. I purpose a deal. I give you the scroll and you let us go in peace. Yukino, Sasuke and Sakura were shocked that the sound ninja was just willing to give them the scroll and put his team at a disadvantage for the second part of the Chunin exams. Dosu then threw the scroll at Naruto, who caught it easily and then just looked at it. Dosu then proceeded to pick up his fallen teammates. It would seem that we underestimated you, but we have all the information we need. And you. Just because you saved me from your teammate doesn't mean that next time we're all buddies, got that? Dosu said to Naruto, who was just staring at the scroll, not even acknowledging what the sound ninja said. The rest of Team 7 watched as the lone sound ninja carried his two fallen teammates away. Sakura then casted a glance at Sasuke and caught a glimpse of the mark on his neck. "Hey, wait." Sakura called out, making Dosu stop as well and turn around. "What is it now?" Dosu said, annoyed. "Who is this Orochimaru and what does he want with Sasuke?" Sakura demanded to know. Yukino then looked at Naruto, who was just staring at the earth scroll in his hand, not moving. "Did he do something to Naruto as well?" she asked as well. This made both Sasuke and Sakura remember that Orochimaru hit Naruto right in the stomach with something. "I don't know what he wants with Sasuke and certainly don't know what happened to him," Dosu said while glancing at Naruto, who still hasn't moved from his position, but it certainly wasn't because of Orochimaru. "All I know is that we were meant to attack Sasuke and we did," Dosu said and turned around, not saying anything anymore, but he had a troubled expression as he and his fallen teammates disappeared. Yukino and Sakura then looked at Sasuke, who looked at his trembling hand with a worried expression. "Just what am I?" Sasuke said fearfully, before casting a glance at Naruto, who still hasn't moved. "Naruto, what did you do back there?" Sasuke thought as he remembered their very brief fight. Yukino then looked at Naruto. If it wasn't Orochimaru, then where did Naruto get this kind of power? Could he have had that power all along? She thought. Naruto just kept standing there not moving at all, and this worried Yukino, so she called out, "Naruto?" Naruto didn't respond, but he tossed the earth scroll to Yukino. He then walked away, leaving the confused Genin there. Yukino saw this and was worried and confused because he doesn't seem to act like himself. "Naruto?" she said softly, trying to get her friend's attention. "What's wrong with Naruto?" Ino asked, concerned. "I don't know," Shikamaru replied, but is wondering the same thing. Naruto ignored her and just kept walking away from them. Yukino then ran towards Naruto and latched onto his jumpsuit, making him stop. "Naruto, where are you going?" "What's wrong?" Yukino said softly. Naruto turned his head to look at Yukino. His green eyes looking at her purple ones, even though Naruto isn't showing any expression, and that scared Yukino, but the way he is looking at her, it's like he's saying, "You know what you did," and Yukino knew it as she began to tear up again as she looked at Naruto with regret. Then "Naruto, I'm so sore," she was about to say when, shuffle, there was some movement by the bushes as everyone there got tensed and got in a battle stance, while Naruto wasn't worried and Neji stayed calm and activated his Byakugan to see what it was. "Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle, Neji, what is it?" Another enemy, Tenten asked. Neji shook his head, but he was confused at what he saw. "You don't have to worry," Neji said, but was confused. "What do you mean? What is it?" Tenten asked. "See for yourself," Neji replied as he was looking at the bushes. Shuffle. The bushes continued to shake for a little bit, then came out a white blur and landed in front of Naruto. It was a white cat. The cat had a little pink bow on its collar and it was staring at Naruto with its pink eyes, while Naruto stared at it with his green eyes. Once they saw the white cat, everyone gave a sigh of relief, but were confused as to why a cat was all the way out here. "The cat? What's it doing here?" Shikamaru said. "I don't know, but it's so cute," Ino said with stars in her eyes, while Shikamaru and Choji sweat dropped at their teammates' actions. "I wonder what a cat is doing here," Sakura thought, but agreed with Ino that the cat looks adorable. Naruto then started walking towards the cat. "Wait, Naruto," Yukino said as she looked at Naruto walking towards the cat, not knowing what he would do. Everyone silently watched what would happen as Naruto and the cat just stared at each other as he kneeled in front of the it. Naruto tilted his head and in response the cat did as well. That made the girls all blush at the cuteness of the cat. The cat walked up to Naruto and lifted its little paws, wanting him to pick it up. Naruto also extended his arms and lifted the cat up in his arms as they were still staring at each other, almost like a staring contest. "What's with these two?" Sasuke thought. The cat then lifted one of its paws to Naruto's forehead, and when it made contact, it made a bright flash of light that caused everyone to shield their eyes. After the bright light went away, they looked towards Naruto, and they were shocked to see he was back to his normal self. His hair was yellow again, and the same is said with his orange and blue jumpsuit, much to the shock and happiness of Yukino, but he was still taller and had the big black and red sword on his back still. Her happiness was short-lived when Naruto started to fall backwards. "Naruto?" Yukino yelled, concerned as she ran towards Naruto, catching him before he hit the ground with the cat still in his arms. Team 10 came rushing over as Yukino put her head towards Naruto's chest, trying to hear a heartbeat, which she did, and sighed in relief. "He's okay, he's just sleeping," Yukino said to them, which they nodded. "Thank goodness," Ino said in relief that her fellow blonde is okay. "Did the cat do something?" Choji asked as everyone looked at the white cat sleeping in Naruto's arms peacefully. "I think so, but whatever happened to change Naruto back?" Shikamaru said. Yukino gently put Naruto on her lap as she stroked his hair. "Thank goodness you're okay, Naruto," she thought. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto was starting to wake up as he opened his eyes to see where he was. He was in a place that looked like it had no life in it. The sky was covered by clouds that only showed a little bit of light coming from above. He could also see some mountains in the distance. He was also walking on nothing but dirt. "Where am I?" Naruto asked confused. As Naruto was still looking at his surroundings, he heard someone call him from behind. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto turned around too and looked to who called him only to see. It's you. Naruto said wide-eyed. It was the same person from before in that dark void with him. Naruto's mindscape. What do you mean? Naruto asked confused. Right now Naruto was back in his mindscape after his fight with Sasuke and his encounter with a cute white cat. Naruto now was face to face with the black-haired person from before. Also, who are you? As I said, we have much to discuss, the figure replied to Naruto, not even answering his questions, and started walking in another direction while signaling to follow him. Okay? Naruto said, unsure but still followed. Naruto and the black-haired person was walking for some time now, and still their surroundings hasn't changed. They haven't spoken yet either, so Naruto decided to break the silence. So, what did you want to talk about? Naruto asked. We're almost there, the person replied. Naruto then looked around his surroundings again to see the same thing as before. What do you mean? We're still, Naruto said, only to be cut off by the massive castle in the distance. Whoa. Naruto said, surprised. We're going to talk there, the person exclaimed. Oh, okay, Naruto replied, still stunned. The figure grabbed Naruto's hand. Hey. What are you? Naruto was about to say but was cut off by the figure. We're going to fly there, the person said, shocking Naruto. Flap. Black and red feathered wings sprang from the black-haired person's back, which Naruto recognized from before from their first interaction. What? Whoa. Naruto said, but then was startled when a pair of black leather wings sprang from his back, surprising him. The black-haired person started to hover himself off the ground and into the air. Wait. I don't know how to fly. Naruto yelled out. The person looked at Naruto for a second and then replied. Use the muscles in your back to sprang up in the air and then let your wings glide through the wind, the person explained. Naruto tried doing what the person said and his own pair of wings started to twitch and spread out but got exhausted after. The black-haired person saw this and lowered himself and went behind Naruto to help him by putting his hand on Naruto's back. Try focusing on the spot I have my hand on and try again, he said. Naruto nodded. He then tried again, this time focusing on the spot the person's hand was. This time the results were different. Naruto's black wings began to twitch and spread out again, but this time they started to flap. Good, you're starting to get the hang of it, this time try again, but more harder, the person explained. Naruto nodded, then let out a breath and tried again, but this time harder than before. His wings began to twitch and spread out while flapping. Naruto started to lift off the ground slowly, while the person had a small smile on his face as he watched Naruto. Alright, now get used to stay in the air until you start to feel it get easier, the person said as he began to lift off the ground again. Did you have to do this as well? Naruto asked, trying to keep himself in the air. Yes, I had to teach myself at the time, he replied back. Naruto nodded. You didn't have a sensei to teach you? Naruto asked. I did have a teacher, but he didn't teach me how to fly, the person replied. Why not? Well, it's because he didn't know I had wings. I mean, I didn't either until at a certain moment, the person said, then looked down with a frown in remembrance. Naruto noticed this and felt bad. It was silent for a moment before Naruto broke it. Sorry, he said. The person shook his head. It's fine, don't worry about it, the person replied. Naruto nodded and started to feel the hovering is getting easier as his breathing returned to normal. You're doing good, try moving around so you can adjust to it. Naruto nodded and started to hover around, slowly getting the hang of it. The person watched Naruto with a nod. Alright, let's go, the person said to Naruto as he began to fly in the direction of the castle. Naruto nodded and flew towards the castle as well. Time skip. Naruto and the black-haired person arrived at the gates of the castle. Now that Naruto can see the castle clearly, it was a black and purple in color, along with a small village surrounding the castle. Naruto looked around the village a little bit. Are there any people living here? Naruto asked. The black-haired person looked at Naruto, who was looking at the village in wonder. No, remember, this is your mind. I only created this place so that we can talk with no distractions, the person replied. Oh, okay, Naruto said. Then the black-haired person put his hand on the gate of the castle and pushed it open so they can walk in. Follow me, the person said, which Naruto nodded. They then started to walk in the foyer room of the castle where some stairs were to the second floor. Naruto was speechless from the inside of the castle. They started to walk through some hallways until they are at a door which they opened, and inside is a living room with two red couches facing each other. Naruto and the black-haired person sat in front of each other getting comfortable. Alright, let's get started, the person said as Naruto nodded with a serious face. First, I'm pretty sure you have some questions, don't you? The person said to Naruto. Naruto nodded and spoke. Who are you? Naruto asked. You can call me whatever you want, a lot of people did anyway, the person replied. Naruto frowned at that. You don't have a name? Naruto asked. The person just shook his head. Naruto put on a thinking pose and thought of what to call him. Parent, Naruto whispered. What? How about Kirin? Naruto asked. The person looked down and thought about his new name. Naruto thought for him. This isn't the first time someone called him by a different name. A lot of people called him either boy or kid, but that's really about it. After a couple of seconds he spoke. Sure, I don't mind you calling me Kirin. Besides, the author can finally stop calling me the person now named Kirin. Wait, what the fuck? What? Naruto and Kirin were staring at each other in an awkward silence until Kirin broke it. Cough. So do you have any other questions? Kirin asked. Naruto disregarded their awkward moment a few seconds ago, thanks God, and asked another question. You said this was my mind, right? Naruto asked and Kirin nodded. So how did you make this place then? Also, why did you make it like this? As for your first question, you could say we are linked together in a sense, that's how I created this place in your mind, and your second question I'm going to answer in a little bit. Anything else? Karen replied. Naruto thought back to what happened in the void and to him when he woke up and that power he had, he didn't know what that was so he asked. I have two more questions. That power I used when I fought my teammate, that was yours, right? What exactly was that power? Naruto asked, curious. For the first one you are half correct, Karen replied, confusing Naruto. That power you used was the power of darkness, and it wasn't just mine, but it was yours as well, and I'm going to explain what the darkness is as well in a little bit. What's your last question? Karen explained. Naruto was surprised at this realization. He didn't know he had that kind of power inside of him, but he had some concerns regarding this power of darkness, but he pushed it back for later since Karen was going to explain it more in a little bit. When we were in the void, you were looking at someone, it was a girl with silver blue hair, and she had unusual clothing on, the same as you, but she also had white feathered wings. Who was she? Naruto asked. Karen was looking down in thought, but he had a look of longing in his eyes. Seeing this, Naruto was about to apologize, but was cut off by Karen with a sigh. I was planning to tell you after your questions, but since you asked that question, now's a good time. First, the girl that you saw, her name was Iris, and she is my beloved, Karen said with a sad smile. Naruto was surprised at this. I'll tell you more in a little bit, in the meantime I'm going to tell you a story first, Karen said while he manifested a book out of some black energy. Naruto nodded and got comfortable, but then remembered something. Wait. How long is this story? Because I still have an exam to finish, Naruto said worried. You don't have to worry, I made it to where time works differently here in your mind. An hour here is like 10 minutes outside of your mind, Scape, Karen explained, and Naruto relaxed at that. Alright, ahem, a long time ago, before the age of the shinobi, there were two kingdoms, one tried to overpower the other, while the other one tried to keep peace between them. The one who tried to keep the peace were the Kingdom of White, and the one who tried to overpower them were the Kingdom of Black. The Kingdom of White and the Kingdom of Black were polar opposites to each other. The Kingdom of White specialized in light, while the Kingdom of Black specialized in dark. Both kingdoms were protected by their respective governors. For the Kingdom of White, they were under the protection of the Queen of Light, and for the Kingdom of Black, they were governed by the King of Darkness. Above the clouds in the sky is where there was a floating island that the Kingdom of White were resided in, and in the mud of the surface was where the Kingdom of Black resided in. Because of that, the clouds blocked off the sunlight so that the Kingdom of Black couldn't harvest any food or any natural landscape like grass or trees. All there was is dead trees, mud, and dirty water that they had to fertilize to survive on, and it wasn't any better that they were monsters that attacked the people of Black, and so they resented the people of White for what they had up there. So the Kingdom of Black wanted to wage war on the Kingdom of White, and so they did. The battle was endless. A lot of people lost their lives due to this silly war. It got out of hand because the King of Darkness made civilians put on armor and go fight. There is also an ancient legend revolving around two figures, the White Maiden of the Sky, represented by the White Cat, and the Black Prince of Darkness, represented by the Black Cat. At the same time, a war between the demons and the Guardians of Light took place, with the demons led by the Black King of Darkness, attacking the lands in the sky. The Black Prince, however, despite the wishes of the Black King, defied his orders and falls in love with the White Maiden, in hopes that their union would end the war. Both were not meant to meet and love each other, as the war ravaged the world around the land and the skies. Naruto was so engrossed into the story Karen was telling, it was intriguing to him, but he couldn't stop the feeling of deja vu whenever Karen was telling the story, and he didn't know why. But that's not all. He felt like whenever Karen was telling about the Prince of Darkness and the White Maiden, that he was talking about himself and this Iris person. But then on a fateful day, that's when the war has finally ended. Naruto perked his head up when Karen said that and gave his full attention towards it. But not as you expect, not all endings have a happy ending, Karen said, but this time he had a look of sadness and regret which Naruto noticed. The Queen of Light saw the deaths and destruction that the war has caused and thought now is enough, so she went to the center of the island, where a huge tower was to end this. At a different place, the Prince of Darkness had just left the trap that the King of Darkness has made for him, because he didn't want the Dark Prince to interfere with his fight against the Queen of Light, because he has defied his orders. The Dark Prince rushed to where the Queen of Light was, but it was too late by the time he got to the center of the island where the tower was. The island was already starting to break apart and collapse, and making the island fall to the surface of the earth. Apparently with the last of her power the Queen of Light made it so that the King of Darkness was sealed away. Because of that the island couldn't hold itself up anymore since there is no power. The Dark Prince rushed to the top of the tower where she saw her for the last time. Once they locked eyes with each other, the Queen of Light had a shock expression on her face, but then changed to one of regret as she apologized to him for breaking their promise to each other. Then the building started to collapse, as well as the remainder of the island. Both the Dark Prince and the Queen of Light were falling. The Dark Prince tried to save the Queen of Light, trying desperately to take her hand. When they locked eyes again the Queen of Light had a sad smile on her face as she disappeared into the rubble of the building, as well as the Dark Prince himself, ending both of their lives. The island has now crashed on the surface of the earth, disbanding the clouds as the earth finally had sunlight being brought down upon it. Due to this, the war was finally over between light and darkness, but at a price two individuals have made so that there can be peace for the world, Karen said as he closed the book, signaling the end to the story. Naruto was shocked at the ending to that long story. True, the war was over, but at the price of the Dark Prince and Queen of Light. He was even saddened by the fact that the Dark Prince and the Queen of Light couldn't get together or fulfill their promise to each other. Aizen looked at Naruto for his reaction, and he was shocked, which is understandable. "Now, do you have any questions?" Kaisen asked. Naruto was broken out of his thoughts and nodded. "What's the point of telling me this? I mean, when you were telling the story, when you read about the Dark Prince and the Queen of Light, it sounded like you were talking about yourself and this Iris person." Naruto asked. Karen stared at Naruto for a moment before speaking. "Naruto, let me ask you this. What if I told you that this story, this legend, really happened? What if I told you that this story was based off of real events that happened?" Karen said to Naruto, who stared at him for a few moments before his eyes widened. "Wait. Hold on, are you saying that?" Naruto asked, and Karen just nodded his head. "Yes, it's true, all of it." Naruto's mindscape, or I should be saying former Dark Prince. Naruto was flabbergasted because he was just told of a story before the age of Shinobi, of two kingdoms, and found out about a legend of two figures he didn't know about, and turns out it was based off of the real thing. And the best part about it was he was face to face with one of them right now, but was confused on what Karen said. "Wait, what? What do you mean?" Naruto said. "Naruto, I'm not alive anymore, I'm just a spirit that has resided within you," Karen stated, and Naruto nodded. "So who is the Dark Prince now?" Naruto asked, and Karen just stared at him. "Isn't it obvious?" Karen said while tilting his head a bit, but Naruto had a confused expression. "You are now the Dark Prince, which means you have a big responsibility now," Karen said seriously, while pointing at Naruto, who had a shocked expression, then looked down in thought. Naruto thought about what he was told and didn't know what to think about the subject. He was now this Dark Prince, and now that he was thinking about what he was told, that explained what that power from before was. But he wasn't sure if he was the right person to bestow that kind of responsibility on or power to. I don't know how I feel about all this," he said. "I understand, at first I was nervous as well, but I powered through because someone trusted me to bring peace to both the kingdom of White and Black, because at the time that person didn't agree with the King of Darkness that wanted to overthrow the kingdom of White. He only wanted peace so that no one can perish again," Karen said. "What happened to him?" Naruto asked. "He died. He wanted to find someone who could be next King of Darkness, who could actually bring peace. He met me, he saw that I was done with how the King of Darkness was treating his people, and so he challenged me to a sword fight to see if I was worthy. When I defeated him, he was down to his last breath, and so he told me that in order to achieve peace, I have to take the throne from the current King of Darkness, and that's what I did. I trained with my teacher in what I needed to know in order to be the King of Darkness. He told me that a king isn't just powerful, but is also knowledgeable," Karen explained, while Naruto was just listening. "At some point I met Iris, my beloved. She was also the Queen of Light," he said with a loving smile. "I knew it," Naruto thought. "After I saw her for the first time, you should know. I fell in love with her right then and there." "It was love at first sight," Naruto realized. Karen nodded. "Yeah, after that I had another reason to strive for peace. I thought that if we were together, that it will end the war between our two kingdoms," Karen explained. "But it didn't go as well as you have hoped. In the end, you got what you wanted, but at the cost of both of your lives," Naruto finished, which Karen nodded again. "Yes, but in this era, peace has yet to be achieved, and it doesn't help that there is still some darkness left in the world. That's why I wanted you to achieve peace, so that there won't be countless wars going on," Karen explained. Naruto looked at him. Why was he chosen for this role? Can he really do this? What makes you think I can do this? Naruto asked. Karen looked at Naruto for a little bit before answering. "You remind me of myself when I was young. Tell me, this Yukino girl, who is she?" Naruto flinched when Karen said her name. How did he even know it in the first place? His head hung low as his hair shadowed his eyes, but answered nothing less. "She's my childhood friend," Naruto said, and Karen hummed and nodded. "Tell me, despite what happened in the forest, you still care about her, right?" Karen asked, but it wasn't a question but a statement. Naruto clenched his fist. Could he really forgive his team, or at the very least Yukino? No. He couldn't, because it still hurts for what they did and he can't forget about it, but still, even if he can't forgive Yukino, he would still care and protect her regardless. With a sigh he nodded slowly and said, I won't forgive them for what they did, but that doesn't mean I don't care for Yukino, I still do, despite it he said, and Karen nodded with a small smile, but he can tell there was more to it. You're a good young man Naruto, but remember there are many people out there, one day you're going to find someone and cherish them, like how I do Iris Karen said, making Naruto blush with his other comment, it seems he saw through him. Naruto scratched the back of his head with the blush still on his face. So what do you say? As the new Dark Prince, will you help me achieve peace once again? Naruto looked down for a moment before nodding his head. Alright, let's do it, Naruto said with determination making Karen smile. Good, now we have to discuss some other matters and your training Karen said. Other matters? I get about the training part, but what else is there? Naruto asked. Well, I have to tell you about the changes your body's going through Karen said plainly. Not like that. Karen quickly said. Oh okay, Naruto sighed. Now as I said, I have to tell you about the changes your body went through when you first awakened to your power. Naruto nodded and gave his full attention. But first, the power you have is the same as mine. Darkness or dark energy, however you want to put it. Now listen carefully, dark energy is extremely dangerous, it's destructive, unpredictable, and sometimes unstable. The energy can possess damaging effects on the user's body and their sanity if they have poor control over it. Trust me, I've seen that before and I don't want you to go through that. Now accidental release of negative energy may occur. It focused purely on outwards and destructive. Karen explained, but this made Naruto have a worried expression. Seeing this Karen quickly explained, you don't have to worry, since I'm going to be your teacher when it comes to these things, you will learn how to control it, Karen said. Naruto nodded and relaxed. Now then you can create, shape and manipulate dark energy. To draw out that power it is usually drawn from deep within your soul and into your body. It can be channeled to a variety of effects as an absence of light, a solid, gaseous or liquid substance. Basically it can be manifested in various ways. Karen explained and Naruto looked down and thought, when you say manifest, I could create anything as long as I have a clear visual picture of what I want to create, is that right? Naruto said pointing to himself. That's right, as long as you have a specific picture of what you want to create it will appear, Karen stated. Aizen then extended his hand to the side and a black and red portal appeared, shocking Naruto. Then a large black and red sword came out of the portal. Naruto recognized it as the sword he used when he fought with Sasuke. This sword is called the Sword of Darkness. It's what I was given when I was titled the Dark Prince. This sword is special because it can cut or reflect any jutsus, that's what you call it, right? Karen asked and Naruto nodded for him to continue. Okay, right now I want you to make a ball of dark energy to get you started, Karen instructed. Naruto nodded. Karen said that I can tap into it from my soul and then it's supposed to spread into my body, but how am I supposed to do that? He thought. Naruto then lifted his hands that made it look like he was holding something and started to concentrate. Naruto and Karen saw that little black sparks appeared and disappear, but that was about it. Try again, but this time don't force it out, concentrate more into your mind until you feel your dark energy and guide it through into your body, Karen said. Naruto nodded again and this time closed his eyes, concentrating more. While Naruto was concentrating, Karen was thinking about something while looking at Naruto's stomach. We need to speak with him later when that seal is off, he thought. Meanwhile Naruto was still concentrating. It was difficult for Naruto because he hasn't meditated before, but he could feel something. He could tell he was getting close to the source. That's when he felt it. He could feel the dark energy and subconsciously lift his hands towards the dark power as it was beginning to course through his body. I think I got it, he said. Good, how does it feel? Karen asked. Naruto didn't know what to feel at the moment. He thought when he encountered the dark power it would feel intimidating, but surprisingly it was welcoming for him as the dark energy spread through his body. It feels welcoming, Naruto said. Okay, keep going, Karen said, and Naruto nodded. Karen began to feel the dark power coming off of Naruto as he smiled at the progress Naruto was going and spoke up. Okay, now imagine the dark energy is going out through your hands, Karen said to Naruto. Naruto did what Karen said and tried to imagine it coming through his hands. Spark, spark. Karen saw that the black sparks from before are happening again more frequently. Naruto opened his eyes to see that the sparks are happening again as he began to try harder. Then a small ball of dark energy appeared in the center of Naruto's hand. Karen saw this and nodded. He wanted it to be a little bit bigger, but it was good for Naruto's first time. He will get better through time, he thought. Naruto felt satisfied as he was starting to get fatigued from concentrating. But he was glad he accomplished something. It wasn't much, but at least he made progress. Good job, we're going to work on that later so you can get better. Now let's get to the changes in your body, Karen said, which Naruto gave him his full attention. First, your stamina has increased along with your strength, also you're more durable than before. Next, you have grown in height. Well, actually this is supposed to be your original height, but due to how you kept eating those ramen noodle cups you couldn't grow properly. Karen explained to Naruto, who sheepishly scratched the back of his head. How do you even know that? Naruto asked Karen awkwardly. I saw your memories, he said plainly. Hey. That's an invasion of privacy. Naruto stated accusingly. It's not like I did it on purpose. I saw flashes of what happened throughout your life up to when you went unconscious in the forest of death. That's also how I know about Yukino, Karen explained, and now Naruto realized. Oh, I was wondering how you knew about Yukino, he said while Karen nodded. Alright, let's continue. Next is you have immense amount of dark energy, and again you need training in order to use it. Also you have developed some muscles for your body, he said. Forest of Death. Yukino and the rest of Team 7 were out in the open where a small river was taking a break. And, surprisingly, they were with Team 10, who suggested that they come with them, which they agreed. Well, mostly Yukino and Sakura did anyway. Sasuke didn't really care, but kept his guard up around them, since they only had one scroll left. Okay, this is a good place to rest. I think the boys should go get some food. Well, I will see if Naruto has any injuries on him, Yukino said. I'll help you with that, Ino said, which Yukino nodded in thanks. Oh man, I'm used to people giving me food, though, Choji complained. Oh, stop complaining. Sakura and Yukino were the ones doing the most work before we showed up, so they need to rest, and Ino needs to recover as well, Shikamaru said. Whatever, Sasuke said, walking away from the group. Sigh man, what a drag. Come on, Choji, Shikamaru said. Alright, and with that both started to follow Sasuke to get some food. Sakura looked at Sasuke as he walked away. After what happened in the forest, she was heartbroken that Sasuke literally pushed her away after she tried to get him back to his senses. Yukino was still upset that Sasuke used a jutsu on Naruto. Despite it not hitting, it didn't matter to her, and just seeing Sasuke not care if he used a jutsu on his teammate left her questioning her if she even thinks Sasuke sees Naruto as a friend or even a teammate at all. Yukino saw how Naruto and Sasuke acted towards each other back at the academy, but she had hoped that now that they're on a team that those two could be friends, but it didn't happen, so seeing Sasuke do that kind of thing to Naruto didn't set well with her, and if that attack actually hit Naruto and made him more injured, then he probably is, curse mark or not, he had no excuse for what he did. She wouldn't forgive him, it's not like she's any better either. Yukino values hers and Naruto's friendship dearly, and just thinking about how she left Naruto back in the forest left her feeling awful. Seeing how Naruto looked at her with no expression back in the forest made her scared. Even though he wasn't showing any emotion towards her, she knew that she was the reason for this change in Naruto, but she hoped that Naruto would forgive her and prayed to Kami that he would still be her friend. Yukino sighed and turned towards Naruto, who was laying by a tree with a white cat still sleeping on his thighs. Even when they moved him here, they didn't wake up. Beside them was the huge black and red sword he had on his back. They had a hard time moving Naruto with that on. They didn't understand how Naruto could carry that big sword, but she hoped he would wake up soon. He's gotten taller, she thought as she looked at him, then towards Ino. Ino, do you have any medical supplies with you? She said. Yeah, I have some, Aldo, it's just some bandages if that would help, Ino replied. Don't worry, it will, Yukino said. Would you like some help with Naruto? Sakura asked. The two girls stopped and looked at Sakura with confused gazes. Yukino was the most confused because Sakura always hit Naruto and never tried to help him in any way, well, except for that one time when they learned the tree walking exercise in Wave Country and she gave him advice. Okay, Yukino didn't know how to respond to that and Ino just nodded. Alright, let's get to. Yukino was cut off by a wave of power. Then a black and red portal appeared under the sword beside Naruto. The three girls were surprised that they couldn't move as the portal began to envelop the sword until it was completely gone, like it was never there. The girls were silent for a little bit, trying to process on what just happened. Ino suddenly spoke up. Do you think Naruto is going to get mad we lost his sword? She asked while stuttering. Well, we can just tell him what happened, alright? Sakura said. You think he'll believe the portal just stole his sword? Ino asked. I hope so, I don't want him to be upset with us, Yukino said, walking towards Naruto while the two other girls followed. Okay, we have to take his jacket off, but we got to move the cat first, Yukino said, while gently picking up the cat and moved it off of Naruto and to the side of him. There you go, she said, gently patting the cat. Okay, here we go. Yukino then unzipped Naruto's orange and blue jacket and proceeded to take it off of him with the help of Ino while Sakura watched. Whoa. Ino got the attention of both Yukino and Sakura. What's wrong? Sakura asked. I didn't know Naruto worked out, his forearms are so muscular, Ino said with a blush as she felt Naruto's forearms confusing Sakura, but Yukino's eyes began to twitch as she saw Ino basically messaging her friend's arms. Why am I acting like this? She thought. Yukino, did Naruto ever work out? Sakura asked. Not that I know of, Yukino replied, eyes still twitching as she's still watching Ino touch Naruto's arms. You girls should feel them too, Ino said, surprising the two. What? Yeah. You should feel it too, Ino said as she grabbed Sakura's arm, surprising her. Sakura then began to feel Naruto's forearms and was surprised to feel like she was touching a rock. Whoa. It's like I'm touching a hard rock. Sakura stated, making Yukino's eyes twitch more than what it was before. Yeah. It's like I'm touching hard steel, Ino said, but got cut off by Yukino. We're getting off track here. She said, irritated. What's wrong? We're only feeling his arms. Ino said. That's not the point, we're trying to see if he's injured, not feeling him up, Yukino said, but then made the two girls and herself blush at the last part she said. Why did you say it like that? Sakura cried out with her cheeks a little red. I didn't know how else to put it. Yukino replied, still with a blush. Well, why don't you have a feel for yourself? Ino asked. Yukino, still with a blush, turned to Ino, then to Naruto, who was still sleeping, then to his arms that was by her hands. Naruto was indeed muscular for his forearms, but were still well toned with it to make it not stand out, which suited him. I don't know. Oh come on, it's just a feel, besides he's sleeping, he won't even know, Ino said. That's not the point here. Yukino thought. She didn't know what to feel at the moment. Before she met Naruto, she was always a shy girl until Naruto came into her life and broke that shyness out of her, which she's thankful for. But, now that shyness has returned as she's thinking about touching Naruto without his consent. Well, Naruto always asked her for her permission to hug her because he knew she was still shy to an extent, but she was also curious on how it felt, so despite her better judgment, she complied. Fine, but you two better not say anything to the boys, especially Sasuke. Yukino stated firmly, which they nodded. Yukino then grabbed Naruto's arm and inspected it for a bit, then felt his forearms. It really does feel like hard rock, or more like hard metal for a kunai or shuriken. How did Naruto get it like this, she thought as she moved her hands feeling around Naruto's forearms, while the Ino and Sakura just watched. A couple of minutes went by, and Yukino was still feeling Naruto's arms, lost in a gaze. Both Ino and Sakura turned towards each other with confused expressions as they both looked back at Yukino. Yukino? Sakura said, trying to get the white-haired girl's attention, but didn't work. Yukino? Ino said loudly, making Yukino jump a little bit, then turned towards her. You okay? You were touching for too long, said Ino. Yukino blinked once, twice, then remembered what she just did and blushed hard. Oh sorry, I lost my train of thought, she said, stuttering. It's okay. Ino said awkwardly while Sakura just stared, not knowing what to do. The atmosphere was now an awkward one for a couple of minutes, but then Sakura broke it. Should we continue? She asked, which Yukino and Ino subconsciously nodded at her words. Okay Sai, let's not get sidetracked anymore, Yukino said, and they nodded. Let's check if he has any injuries on his arms, Yukino said, the last part stuttering a little bit. The three girls began to inspect Naruto's arms while trying not to stare or feel him. There are no injuries here, Ino said, and Sakura nodded. Same here, Yukino replied back. Yukino then looked at Naruto's stomach area where Orochimaru did something to him. Could you help me lift his shirt? Yukino asked Ino, who nodded, and the two began lifting his shirt up but didn't expect. At once the three girls' faces turned into a deep crimson red with smoke coming out of their ears. The reason why Naruto had six-pack abs that were also toned to fit his body despite his age. The three girls were speechless as they gazed on Naruto's body. They didn't even register the seal that appeared on his body, but overall he was fine with no injuries. Just then Sakura fainted while Yukino and Ino slowly let go of his shirt, letting it fall to cover up his stomach. The two girls looked at each other before Yukino spoke up with her face still red. We're not going to talk about this, right? She asked slowly, and Ino just nodded sheepishly. Talk about what? A lazy voice said from behind them. The three girls turned their neck so fast that they might have heard a cracking sound. Apparently the boys have returned with some fish for them to eat. Nothing. Nothing at all. It's none of your business. Okay. Okay, Geese wasn't trying to pry or anything, Shikamaru said, putting his hands up in defense, while Choji and Sasuke looked confused. What's wrong with Sakura? Choji asked. She's just tired, right, Yukino? Ino said, trying to play ignorance, while Yukino just nodded without saying anything. Sasuke looked at his girlfriend, but her head was just down so he couldn't see her face. He looked at Naruto, who had his jacket off and just in a shirt, and then turned to the fainted Sakura, who was face first in the ground with smoke coming out of her ears, and back to Yukino. He then shrugged his shoulders and went to sit down. I didn't know Naruto was so muscular, Yukino thought while trying to hide a red face, trying to calm down. Naruto's mindscape, is it that big of a deal? Naruto asked Karen. Well, it does benefit you so that you have extra time to train instead of training your body, Karen explained to Naruto, who nodded. It also does something else. Sigh, if only you seen what I just saw a moment ago, he thought. Is there anything else to know? Naruto asked. Yeah, there is. The seal that the grass ninja put on your stomach is messing with your chakra control, so once you get to the tower, ask to see that Hokage to see if he can remove the seal for you. Okay, I'll do that. It's also messing with your connection with the Nine Tails. At some point we're going to talk to him about this as well, and possibly make a deal with him, Karen explained, making Naruto flinch, but had a confused look. Wait. Why would we make a deal with the fox? Naruto asked. He will be essential for your shinobi training. While I'm training you in dark energy, sword fighting and other stuff for the future, he will train you in the shinobi arts. That way it will be faster for you to get stronger, Karen explained, but Naruto had his doubts. What if he doesn't agree to it, he asked. I have my ways of persuaded him, so you don't have to worry, Karen replied, and Naruto nodded. Well, alright if you say so, he said, and Karen stood up. Another thing, as of this day forward we are now partners, so it will be a pleasure to work with you, Karen said, extending his hand for Naruto to shake. Naruto stood stood up and took Karen's hand and shook it. "It will be good to work with you to partner," Naruto said with a smile, and Karen did the same with a nod. All of a sudden Naruto's hand was beginning to disappear, which freaked him out. "What's happening?" he said, looking worried. "Don't worry, you're just waking up," Karen replied, making Naruto relaxed and sigh in relief. "Oh, I was worried for a second," he said. "Before you go, that white cat that you encountered in the forest." "Oh yeah? What about it?" Naruto said, his body almost gone. "Just letting you know that you can trust her. I'll explain more when you wake up," Karen explained, and Naruto just nodded. Before Naruto vanished, Karen spoke up again. "Also, her name is Katra, by the way," Karen said quickly. "Okay. Bye," Naruto said with a small wave before vanishing completely. Karen was now by himself in the room, and he sighed and went to go sit by the window. He closed his eyes, resting a bit before opening them to look up at the clouds in the sky that barely showed any light coming down. He then had a flashback of Iris smiling at him warmly, which made him smile as well. "I hope you're doing okay and I'll see you soon." Team 7 and Team 10 were sitting by a small fire that lit up the night a little bit. Sasuke made for them because he's the only one who can use a fire jutsu out of all of them. They just finished their food and were just sitting there, either waiting for Naruto to wake up or just to pass the time. They can't go anywhere without him anyway, or well, Team 10 can, but they decided to accompany Team 7. It was almost dark and Naruto hasn't woken up yet, and it was starting to get on Sasuke's nerves. "Naruto sure seems to sleep a lot, almost like he hasn't slept at all," Shikamaru said, looking at Naruto, and noticed he had some bags under his eyes. Yukino and Sakura flinched at that comment, which Shikamaru took notice of and narrowed his eyes. "Well, it is Naruto we're talking about. He attends to sleep alongside you in the academy sometimes, remember? But you're right, he never sleeps for this long before," Ino said, looking at her fellow blonde worried. "Aw. When is this dope going to wake up?" Sasuke said, having enough of all the waiting as Yukino looked at him with narrowed eyes. "Stop complaining. Besides, me and Sakura are still tired for keeping watch all day while you slept," Yukino said, becoming annoyed and tired with her boyfriend's attitude. Seeing Sasuke about to argue back, Sakura stepped in and said, "Maybe we should set up camp for the night, that way we can recover and get up bright and early tomorrow," she said, trying to calm her two teammates down. "TCH. Whatever," Sasuke said, done with the conversation and moving away from them, laying on his side to sleep. Everyone just looked at him and turned back towards the fire. Another round of silence was heard. All you hear was the cracking notices of the wood by the fire. "Hey, why wasn't Naruto with you when you were fighting those sound ninja?" Choji suddenly asked. Yukino and Sakura flinched at the question, Shikamaru narrowed his eyes, and Ino wondered the same thing, but then remembered what Sakura told them. "Oh yeah, you said that you got separated when you were ambushed, but by all the sounds the fight made, he should have heard it and came right away instead of coming at the end," Ino said, and looked at Naruto's sleeping figure and then back to Yukino and Sakura. Well, Sakura was about to say, but got cut off by Yukino. "Before those sound ninja attacked, we got ambushed by another team, and that's when we got separated from each other," she lied, trying to end this topic. "What were you guys doing before when you showed up to help us?" Sakura said, changing the subject, making Shikamaru narrow his eyes more. "Oh well, we were actually on our way to the tower because we managed to find the other scroll we need," Choji replied, surprising the two girls. "Wow. Good for you, but why didn't you just go to the tower instead of coming with us?" Sakura asked. "Yeah, you could have secured your spot for the next exams," Yukino said. "I just thought that it would be good to go together, and plus we could help each other if we get ambushed," Ino replied, while Shikamaru and Choji agreed with her with a nod. Shikamaru then looked up at the sky, only to see it was nighttime already. "We should get to sleep now or we won't wake up on time in the morning," he said. The rest looked up at the sky to see darkness. Apparently they didn't notice it was getting late. "Yeah, you're right, you guys can go to sleep now, I'll put the fire out," Yukino said while stretching and went to go get some water, while the others nodded. Yukino got the water and put the fire out, but not before setting traps in case they had another run-in with another team. She was about to go to sleep when she saw Ino sleeping right by Naruto with her head on his shoulder. The sight made her eyes twitch and narrow at the female blonde and unintentionally balled her fist together. She felt a feeling in her stomach that she couldn't identify, but she didn't like it. Yukino walked over to them. She looked at the two blondes together and was about to separate them, but was too tired to do anything and sat down beside Naruto. She looked at him and raised her hand to his hair and ruffled it a bit before stopping. "I hope you wake up soon, Naruto," she thought, before putting her head on his shoulder, falling asleep. Time skip. Middle of the night. In the middle of the night, everyone was still asleep when Naruto made a small sound as he slightly opened his eyes to see it was nighttime. He then felt some weight on his shoulders. He looked and was surprised to see both Ino and Yukino had their heads on his shoulder sleeping. "What happened while I was out?" he thought, confused. "Morning. You've been sleeping for quite a while." Naruto was startled by the sudden voice. "Karen? Is that you? How long was I out for?" he thought. "You've been sleeping for most of the day," Karen informed, while Naruto was shocked. Naruto looked around to see Shikamaru and Choji beside them asleep under a tree. He then looked a little bit away to see Sasuke as well, and not far was Sakura both asleep. Naruto looked up to see the moon in the middle of the sky, which he now knew it was the middle of the night. He was confused on why Team 10 was here and more surprised of why Ino had her head on his shoulder. He then looked at Yukino and frowned even though he didn't forgive her, he's still glad she's okay. Naruto felt small movement from below him and looked down to see the white cat from before was awake and it stretched on his lap. The white cat then looked back to see Naruto was looking at it. Pink eyes were staring at blue as they just looked at each other for a moment. Naruto tilted his head, making the white cat tilt its head as well as they were just staring at each other. He then remembered what Karen said about the white cat in front of him. Your name is Katra, right? Naruto asked quietly so that he wouldn't wake anyone up. The white cat nodded its head, while Naruto had a surprised expression that the cat understands him. You can understand me? The cat nodded again in confirmation. What's your name? The cat, now named Katra, said in a soft whisper voice, shocking Naruto that apparently she talked. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, he said awkwardly, getting a nod from the cat. I need to talk with you for a bit, Katra said quietly, getting off of Naruto's lap. Alright, but I'm going to need a few minutes, he said, referring to Ino and Yukino on his shoulders, which Katra nodded. Naruto then very gently moved Ino's head off his shoulder and let her rest on the ground. She did move a little bit in her sleep, but not enough for her to wake up. How did this even happen, he thought, and did the same thing for Yukino. But he gently picked her up bridal style and brought her over to where Sasuke and Sakura were. That way they won't get suspicious in the morning, because he didn't want to deal with it. Before Naruto left, he noticed that she was shivering and took off his jacket and laid it upon Yukino, so she had some warmth throughout the rest of the night. Naruto then walked a good distance away from his team and Team 10 and looked up to see Katra in a tree waiting for him. Flap. Black leather wings sprang from Naruto's back as he then flew up towards the tree where Katra was, but not before taking a look at his surroundings. It was mostly trees surrounding them and a small river where his team and Team 10 were, but there were also some traps surrounding the area, which he then noticed that it was Yukino's doing. Due to the fact that there was also an ice trap to freeze the enemy in place, she probably set those up so no enemy teams don't ambush them, he thought. Naruto looked a far distance away and noticed a small orange roof of sorts. It was barely noticeable, but he thought it might be the tower they needed to go. He then flew towards Katra, who was waiting patiently for him, and landed on a branch. Flap. Naruto's wings retracted as he sat on the branch next to Katra. He can see the moon shining some moonlight on the area, making some little stars around them. It was truly a beautiful sight. This is beautiful, he said, mesmerized as Katra nodded, but unknowing to Naruto, Katra was manipulating the light from the moon to make it like this. I'm glad you like it, she said. Naruto turned to the cat, confused seeing this. Karen explained. She's manipulating the light from the moon to make this. Naruto was surprised at this. He didn't think a cat can do all this, most of all have good control of it. He thought it was just a normal cat, but then remembered their first encounter, and all the stuff he learned recently from Karen made him think again. You have good control if you can make something like this, Naruto complimented Katra. Did he tell you what I did? She said, emphasizing her words, which Naruto knew who she was referring to. Turning slightly to her, he just nodded. Can he manifest himself yet? Katra asked hopefully. Naruto shook his head. He said that it's too early for him to do so, he said. I see, she said quietly, looking down with a sad smile. Do you miss him? Naruto asked. Katra just nodded while Naruto thought about something. Hey Karen. Is it possible for you to take control of my body so you can talk to her, he mentally asked. Yes it is. But only if you want me to, Karen replied, and Naruto mentally nodded. Naruto closed his eyes for a little bit, and when he opened them, they were now green as he looked down at Katra. Hey Katra, how have you been? Karen asked from Naruto. Katra looked up at Naruto, confused as he now had green eyes. She quickly realized that this was the Dark Prince talking to her as she began to cry and pounced on his chest. Naruto looked surprised for a second, then had a smile on his face as he started to pet her while she cried. I missed you so much, Katra said between sobs. I missed you as well. How have you been? Karen replied. I've been okay, what about you, how are you holding up? She asked. I've been okay as well, also you can call me Karen by the way, Karen said. Karen? That's my new name, Naruto called me that, he's a good kid, he replied with a smile which made Katra smile as well. I see. It suits you. Also, do you think Naruto can handle this? She said, worried. Yes. I have confidence in Naruto, Karen seriously said. He then remembered something important. Karen looked back awkwardly and looked down at Katra with a small noticeable blush on his face. How's Iris been doing? He asked, scratching his cheek. Instead of getting an answer, he got a couple of purrs and a cheeky smirk on Katra's face with a knowing look. Oh? And why do you want to know, huh? She said teasingly, and Karen's blush darkened. I just want to know how she's been. Katra looked at him for a few seconds before giggling. She loved every chance she got to tease both Iris and Karen. Iris is doing fine, so you don't have to worry, she said softly. I see, I'm glad, he said with a warm smile, and Katra smiled as well. It was silent for a little bit as Katra was just sitting Karen's lap. They just enjoyed being around each other again like old times. You know, Iris really wanted to see you but decided against it because it's too early. Also she wants to see you in person, Catra said to Karen, who nodded. Don't worry, I get it, no matter how much I want to see her, I would also want to see her in person as well, Karen said, and Catra nodded. Don't worry, you two will see each other again, you just have to wait a bit longer, she said reassuringly. I know, and I can't wait for when that day comes, he replied and remained silent for a little bit, then spoke again. I should probably switch back with Naruto now, he said while looking up at the sky. Oh, do you have to? Catra said, frowning. Yes, but don't worry, we can still talk to each other at a later date. Besides, you still have to talk with Naruto too, right? Karen said. Yeah, you're right, Catra said while nuzzling his stomach. It was nice talking with you again. It was nice talking to you too, I'll talk to you later, Karen said, and Catra nodded. Karen closed his eyes and gave control back to Naruto. His eyes opened, and they were blue again, and he shook his head a couple of times, before looking down at Catra in his lap. How was your talk? Naruto asked. It was good, thank you for letting me talk to him, she said, smiling gratefully. I see. You're welcome, he said with a smile of his own. So what did you want to talk about? Oh. First of all, I forgot to fully introduce myself, she said as she remembered. My name is Catra, I'm kinda like a animal spirit that can take visible form. I can do everything a normal cat can, except I can manipulate light and other stuff. She introduced herself. Wow, that's cool. It's nice to meet you as well, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, he said while pointing at himself. Likewise, anyway, you should know who Iris is from, Karen, right? She asked. Naruto nodded. Alright, well, she sent me to come and look after you until you and her partner meet each other, she explained. So I'm basically going to have you as my babysitter. Naruto deadpan. Oh come on, don't say it like that, think of me as a pet that follows you around everywhere, making sure you don't do anything wrong. She cheerfully said, making Naruto and Karen sweat drop at her response. Okay, Naruto said awkwardly while Catra nodded happily as if she did something right. Anything else? He asked. Well, it wasn't just because of that, but also I wanted to see who Karen's partner was, she replied. Oh, I see, by the way, Naruto started. What is it? Catra asked. Well, what exactly did you do back there, you know, when you touched my forehead? He said. Catra blinked a few times when it finally clicked. Oh, you mean that? Well, I just purified you is all, she said. Purified? Catra nodded. Yes, by manipulating light, you can pure anything that has been tainted by darkness, she explained. Naruto had a startled look on his face as he was checking his body frantically, as if looking for something. Apparently, he thought it was bad for him, seeing this. Catra explained. You don't have to worry. Nothing will happen to you, since you didn't have any control over your dark transformation at the time, you didn't know how to revert back to normal, and there was a chance that the darkness will take over you, so I used a large amount of light energy to help you get back to normal, she explained. Naruto let out a sigh. Oh well, thanks you for helping me back there. Karen said that if I don't have good control over my dark energy, that I could lose my sanity, so thank you, he said, thanking her, which she nodded. No problem. Naruto and Catra began talking and getting to know each other for a few hours as the sun was coming up, as a sign of a new day. It's morning already? He asked. Looks like we must have lost track of time, she said. Well, I think I should head back now and cook breakfast. Alright, let's get going. Naruto looked at Catra for a few seconds. I have to ask, where are you going to be? Catra blinked. With you, of course, she said with a matter of fact. I don't have a problem with that. But, I don't know where to put you. I do have my bag, but that's where I have my sharp ninja tools that can hurt you, Naruto stated. That's okay. I can just lay on the top of your head or shoulder, she replied. Naruto thought about it for a few seconds before determining that it was the safest option for now and nodded. Alright, that can work. Catra jumped on Naruto's shoulder, then sat on top of his head laying down and got comfortable. Okay, let's get going. What do you want to eat? Fish. She cheerfully said. Naruto smiled and nodded. Yukino slowly began to sit up, rubbing her eyes while yawning. Yukino stretched for a little bit and looked towards her side to see Sasuke. She was confused, she was pretty sure last night she slept by Naruto. Speaking of Naruto, she now realized that she had his jacket and was using it as a blanket, which confused her, but she understood why she didn't feel cold during the night. She looked to the other side to see Sakura sleeping, a little bit away she saw Team 10 sleeping as well. She looked to where she slept last night with Naruto, but she only saw Naruto was gone. Immediately standing up with his jacket, she frantically looked around to see if she can find him but couldn't. Everyone wake up, she said loudly. Everyone began to stir as they were woken up. What's wrong, Yukino? Sakura said, half asleep. Naruto's gone. Ino said before Yukino, gathering the attention of everyone to the spot where Naruto was supposed to be. Where did he go? Shikamaru asked. I don't know, I was asleep the whole time, but his jacket is here, Yukino said, holding up Naruto's jacket. Did something happen to Naruto when we were asleep? Choji asked, still sleepy. Everyone had worried expression on their faces except Sasuke. Yukino was the most worried. He probably went off somewhere like always, Sasuke said, uncaring of the situation. We don't know that. He could have been Yukino was about to say, but was interrupted. Shuffle. The sounds of the bushes drawed their attention as everyone stood up. Shuffle shuffle. Everyone got into a fighting stance as they waited, a few seconds and out came. "Oh sorry did I startle you?" came the new voice. A teen boy who was taller than the genin came out of the bushes. He had glasses on and white hair, along with regular blue shinobi attire. "Kabuto?" Sakura said. It was Kabuto. "Sorry is it a bad time?" he asked. "Hinda, Naruto is missing and we don't know where he went, have you seen him by chance?" Yukino asked hopefully. "Sorry I haven't. My team and I decided to split up to cover more ground. I saw you guys were all gathered and I figured I could come help out some fellow Leaf Ninja." His response put everyone at ease, except for the two members of Team 7. Yukino because when she first saw Kabuto she didn't know why, but she felt cautious around him, her instincts were telling her to watch out, and Sasuke, his team still needed a heaven scroll in order to pass the exam, and so he was willing to fight for it. But maybe I can help. Kabuto was caught off guard when a black kunai was pressed to his neck as this surprised the others. He slowly turned around to give a menacing glare to whoever snuck behind him, and was surprised to see Naruto with green eyes and a motionless expression as he still kept the kunai to his neck. "Naruto?" Yukino said surprised. She was relieved that he was okay, but was worried because he's acting like when he first arrived. Naruto didn't move his eyes away from Kabuto. "Why are you here?" Naruto spoke with a deadly serious and emotionless tone that made the others shake out of fear. "How did he get behind me?" Kabuto thought. Wait Naruto. Kabuto was going to consider helping us find you," Yukino explained. Naruto looked at Yukino for a few seconds who flinched at his gaze and then to everyone else who nodded shakingly and then turned his gaze back to Yukino who had a pleading look. Naruto closed his eyes and slowly drew back his kunai. When he opened them there were his normal blue eyes. He then looked at Kabuto. "Sorry about that." Kabuto. "No he's not, I didn't know." "Yes he did. I hope you understand my actions since this is still an exam after all." Naruto said. "No, I understand Naruto. We have to keep our guard up from enemies at all times. Plus you did a good job sneaking up behind me," Kabuto complimented. Naruto didn't say anything but nodded. He didn't trust Kabuto. Thanks to his dark power, he can sense when people have negative intentions. He saw right through Kabuto. "Hey Naruto, it's good to see you're awake," Ino replied happily. Naruto turned towards Team 10. "Where were you?" Shikamaru asked. Naruto lifted a net of fish. "I went to go get us some breakfast. I caught a few more since you three were here." "Oh yeah? I'm starving." Choji cheered, putting his fist in the air, his drowsiness nowhere to be found, and Shikamaru sighed. "Thank you, I appreciate that. I really didn't want to hear Choji complaining he didn't eat while we were moving," Shikamaru said with a smirk. Naruto nodded, letting out a small smile cause of Choji's actions. "Well, that's just how Choji is, right? Also it's going to have to wait a bit, it has to be cooked first," Naruto said, while Shikamaru and Choji nodded. Naruto turned towards Kabuto. "Do you want some too? I got extras." "Thank you for the offer, but I already had breakfast," Kabuto replied, and Choji said something about being lucky. Naruto nodded. "Do you need help with that?" Ino said suddenly. Naruto had a confused expression looking at Ino. "No, I'm you though." Naruto rejected her offer. "Oh, okay, but if you need help just ask me, okay?" Ino said kindly. "Sure." Naruto replied awkwardly. He really didn't know what to say to that. Naruto then set his sights to his team and started to walk towards Yukino while she sighed. She thought that Naruto was going to ignore them and she was happy. "Naruto, I'm glad." Yukino was cut off by Naruto. "Can I have my jacket back?" he said with barely any expression with his hand extending out towards his jacket. Yukino was surprised at how Naruto just brushed her off like that and it worried her. He never did that once while they were together and then remembered what that female sound ninja said. "You guys abandoned him all on his own. At this point it won't surprise me if he despises you all now." "No," she thought. Yukino never wanted this to happen. "Yukino," Naruto said, gaining her attention again. "Oh sorry," Yukino said, stuttering while giving his jacket back. Naruto took it and then just walked past her. Yukino felt her eyes start to tear up. "Yukino, are you okay?" Sakura asked, coming up to her and noticed her eyes about to tear up. Yukino quickly rubbed her eyes and turned to Sakura with a fake smile. "Yeah, I'm okay," she said. "Are you sure?" Sakura asked again. "Yeah, don't worry, I'm fine," she said reassuringly. "Well, if you say so," Sakura said, then looked at Naruto who just got the fire started and was now cooking fire breakfast. What happened to Naruto? She thought. After some time the breakfast was ready. Naruto called out to get her attention. "Yes," she said. "Breakfast is ready. Go get Choji and Shikamaru and I'll go get my team," Naruto said, and Ino nodded before walking over to where her teammates were resting. Naruto walked over to the tree where his team was. He saw Sakura turn towards him and speak to him for the first time since they had abandoned him. "Naruto, I'm glad you're okay," she said with a smile, gaining the others' attention as he walked over, but his expression didn't change at her words as he ignored her. Sakura looked hurt. Before she or Yukino could respond, Sasuke sat up. And he immediately noticed Naruto and smirked. "So you managed to survive, huh? Dope," Sasuke said, trying to get a reaction out of the blonde, but Naruto's expression didn't change at his teammate's words. Yukino was about to say something, but was cut off by Naruto. "Head up, Ino is going to get her team, and as soon as we eat breakfast we're leaving." Naruto's icy tone took the others by surprise, as Sasuke responded with an icy tone of his own. "And why should I listen to you? Because unlike you I'm not a coward who runs away from a fight." Naruto's reply sent Sasuke into a rage as he stood up with his Sharingan active, and Naruto's eyes turned green as a response. They both glared back at each other. Yukino and Sakura quickly stepped between them as Sakura spoke. "Eyes please. Let's just be glad we all managed to survive." Sasuke said nothing as he clutched his neck before he huffed and pushed past Yukino and Sakura as he sent a glare to Naruto whose expression didn't change in the slightest. Yukino turned to Naruto. "Naruto, look, I'm so sorry I left you, but Sasuke, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't change the fact that you left me for dead out there after I came back and risked my life for you three." Naruto didn't wait for a reply as he turned around. Yukino and Sakura had hurt expressions on their faces. Yukino looked down. They have no one to blame but their selves. Naruto was right, it didn't matter what they said, it didn't change the outcome. Yukino was trying to hold her tears, but Naruto said, cutting them off from their thoughts as they looked at him. He looked back at the two girls with his warm blue eyes, something they haven't seen before whenever they looked at him. "Despite that, I'm glad you're all okay," he said warmly to them, then he left to go to the others. After Naruto said that, Yukino felt something in her chest as her cheeks felt warm. She now knew that despite what happened, Naruto still wanted to be her friend. Even if Naruto won't forgive her right now, she was just glad he was still her childhood friend she loved. Yukino smiled and put her hands to her chest as tears fell from her eyes. "Thank you," she then turned to Sakura, who had an awestruck expression. "Come on Sakura," Yukino said, grabbing her hand and pulling her towards the group. Sakura just nodded. Team 7 and 10 plus Kabuto sat down in front of the fire eating their breakfast and talking. "Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, thank you for helping out my team," Naruto said. Choji nodded. "No problem, Naruto, we couldn't just sit there and do nothing while they were being attacked. Yeah, it was troublesome, but if we hadn't helped Ino would have yelled at us until we were deaf." Shikamaru said. Ino, who was sitting beside Naruto much to Yukino's dismay, rolled her eyes and playfully punched Shikamaru. "I have to ask, but why are you with us in the first place? I mean, shouldn't you go look for another scroll instead of sticking with us?" Naruto asked. Ino smirked. "We already have the other scroll we need, we just have to go to the tower," she stated while puffing out her chest with pride. Everyone's sweat dropped. Naruto and Sasuke was surprised at this, and Naruto quickly recovered and said, "If that's the case, then why aren't you going straight to the tower then?" Yukino said the same thing, and we answered that we can help each other out, also we can make sure none of us gets ambushed like before while on our way to the tower, Shikamaru explained. Naruto nodded and grabbed another fish on a stick from the fire pit. "Hold on, we get one each," Sasuke said. "It's not for me," Naruto calmly stated. "Who's it for then?" Sasuke said. Just then a white cat jumped on Naruto's shoulder and meows at the group who were surprised at its arrival. It was Katra. "It's the cat again," Choji said surprised while Naruto gave the fish to Katra who started to eat it happily. "She's going to be joining us as well," Naruto said. "So it's a girl after all," Yukino said looking at Katra. "Who decided that she is coming with us?" Sasuke said making Katra stop and hiss at him. "I did, is there a problem?" Naruto said facing Sasuke. "We don't need any more distractions than we already have, dope," Sasuke stated. "She's not going to be a distractions. I'm not arguing about this, besides she's going to be with me the whole time," Naruto said. "Whatever, as long as you're the one taking care of it, then fine," Sasuke said, ending the discussion. Yukino and Sakura sighed in relief. They thought there was going to be another fight between the boys. Katra then finished her fish and jumped up to Naruto's head laying down. The girls thought it was cute. "Okay, we need to get going now," Naruto said. "Hold on, you need to think of a strategy to pass this part of the exam," Kabuto said suddenly. "Alright," Sakura said. "Looks like we can't leave yet," Yukino said. "There's no need for that," Naruto said, confusing the group. "Hey dope, we need 2 scroll in order to pass the exam, or did you forget that?" Sasuke said with a mocking tone. "You mean like this one?" Naruto said and pulled out another scroll from his bag, but this one was white and it had the kanji for heaven on it. "Wait, how did you?" "When I was in the forest, I encountered another team, but they assumed I was weak because I was by myself. After I dealt with them they had both the earth and heaven scroll, and I just took the one we lost, thanks to him," Naruto finished. Team 7 knew who Naruto was talking about when he said him, but the others were confused, or almost all of them. Kabuto knew who he was referring to. "Who did you encounter that made you lose your scroll?" Kabuto asked. "That doesn't matter now, but since all of us have the scrolls they need, we need to get the tower," Naruto said, standing up. Everyone nodded and stood up as well. "I can lead you there since one of my teammates found the location of the tower," Kabuto said, and everyone nodded. Time skip. The group had been traveling for a couple of hours in silence before Shikamaru had asked Naruto why he wasn't with the rest of his team when the sound team attacked. Ino, Sakura and Yukino looked over to them as Kabuto and Sasuke were leading the group. Before Yukino or Sakura could talk, Naruto beat them to it. "We got separated when an enemy team ambushed us. Yukino and Sakura looked surprised, and Sasuke looked impassive as he heard what he said. Ino took notice of both Yukino and Sakura's expression, but said nothing but was confused. Naruto's answer surprised Shikamaru, who nodded with a calculating look. At this point Choji also spoke up. "You looked real cool against Sasuke, Naruto. I didn't know you had that kind of skills." Choji's praise caused Sasuke to have a tick mark and look over at Naruto with a glare and hard expression before he turned back around. After hearing Choji say that, Kabuto looked back at Naruto with calculating look that turned around. What are they referring to? He thought. Yeah. It was pretty cool. You did look scary though when you both were fighting. You didn't even change your expression when you sliced his huge fireball with that sword. Ino replied and quickly had a frightened expression and started sweating along with Yukino and Sakura. This confused Naruto because he can barely remembered what happened when he first awakened, but he remembered he did encounter another team, that's for sure, and grabbed Thyre's scroll. What happened after that, it's a blur, but he sorta remembered that Thyre was some ninjas with white mask and then some blood after that, but he knew he was fighting Sasuke and then Katra touching his forehead, then blank. Thyre was also meeting Karen as well and then waking up in the middle of the night, but he was curious on why he didn't have his sword. "Oh yeah, what happened to the cool sword, Naruto?" Choji asked. "Oh yeah, wonder what happened to it. Did I somehow leave it?" he thought. "I called it back since you didn't need it at the time," Karen replied within Naruto, and he mentally nodded. "Oh okay, not sure, but I don't think it matters right now," Naruto replied with a shrug. The three girls all made a sigh of relief. "Hey, what was that power you showed back, Thyre? Your whole appearance changed, also your strength was unreal, it looked like you could beat Sasuke, even with those strange markings on his face," Shikamaru said. "Damn, I was hoping I didn't have to answer this." Naruto cursed. Kabuto was surprised at this, so he ended up doing it then. "But what's this about a strange power Naruto displayed? That he could beat Sasuke even with the curse mark?" He thought while glancing at Sasuke, who had a hand on his neck. Naruto was trying to find a way he could answer this while everyone was waiting. "Honestly, I really can't say." Naruto decided to act ignorant. "You can't say?" Ino says. "Or more like I can't remember what happened." "Sorry," Naruto said, scratching his head to act the part. I see," Shikamaru said, but he was doubtful. Naruto sighed. "Nice move on that one," Karen said. "Thanks, I didn't want them to know about it, especially with Kabuto around." Naruto thought. "Yeah, something is not right with him. I'm pretty sure you noticed by the way our powers are reacting kinda like a sixth sense." "Yes, I have, it's giving me a twitchy feeling, the same way with that snake guy, but his was more powerful compared to Kabuto," Naruto stated, and Karen nodded. "He may have some connection to him," Karen said, and Naruto nodded. "Yeah, I think you're right. I have to keep an eye on him. And, judging by the way he looked at Sasuke when Shikamaru said markings, he must know what that snake guy did to him," Eric theorized, and Karen nodded. "You best be careful, Naruto." "I will," Naruto said, ending Thyre communication. Naruto was snapped out of his thoughts by Yukino. "Are you alright?" she asked, worried. "Yeah, sorry, just spaced out, Thyre," he replied, and she nodded. The group continued onwards. Time skip. The two teams made a quick stop to eat lunch before continuing. They had traveled for another 4 hours before they stopped as they heard two people arguing. It was one of the other teams. They were all wearing standard shinobi shirts and black pants. The two arguing had short brown hair and eyes. Their female teammate had long black hair tied to a ponytail as she tried to get them to calm down. The group made a plan to capture any enemy teams they ran across. Sasuke made himself known to the ninjas as Shikamaru sneaked behind them and used his shadow possession jutsu to immobilize the enemy. They started screaming curses and threats, but stopped when Naruto and Yukino knocked them out. The group tied them up as they searched the sand ninjas and managed to acquire Earth Scroll. "Naruto, give me the scrolls," Sasuke suddenly said, surprising the group. "Wait, hold on, Sasuke," Sakura said. "Why should I?" Naruto said, cutting her off. "I think I should hold onto the scrolls for now on," Sasuke said while holding out his hand for the scrolls. "You didn't answer my question, why do you want them?" Naruto said again. "I would be best suited for handling the scrolls," Sasuke said. "And I'm not," Naruto said back. "Naruto, just give me the scrolls. We're wasting time here arguing," Sasuke said, getting annoyed. "Yeah, we are, so how about you stop trying to argue and we can get on our way," Naruto said back. "Then give me the scrolls first. I'm not doing something that's unnecessary." Stop fighting. Sasuke, just let Naruto keep the scrolls," Yukino said. "I don't understand why he can't just give me the scrolls," Sasuke said, looking at his girlfriend. "Maybe it's because I don't trust you," Naruto stated, making Sasuke look up with narrowed eyes. "Why not?" he said. "I'm afraid that you might try to give away our scrolls again," Naruto said, unfazed. Team 10 and Kabuto were confused about what Naruto just said. "Why you?" Sasuke said, but was cut off. "Enough!" Yukino shouted, surprising everyone, even Naruto. He has never heard Yukino shout before. Well, there was that time when she protecting him from the civilians, but that was the only time. "Sasuke, we're not going anywhere if you keep arguing like a child." Let Naruto hold on to the scrolls, he's been doing a good job keeping them safe so far, Yukino said, making no room for arguments. DCH, whatever. Sasuke cursed and walked past Yukino, who sighed, putting her hand on her forehead. Sigh, what a troublesome day, Shikamaru said, and Naruto agreed with him on that. Time skip. The two teams and Kabuto set up camp for the night as Choji and Shikamaru decided to go to the nearby river to catch some fish. Sakura set up the fire as Sasuke went off to a nearby tree to rest. This left Ino, Yukino and Naruto with Katra still laying on his head alone, and she took advantage of the time they had to talk about something. So what actually happened between your team? Ino's question caught Yukino off guard and confused Naruto. He must have shown it as Ino spoke again. Hey, what's with those faces? My clan specializes in information gathering. It was pretty easy for me to see you guys weren't telling the whole truth from the beginning, and Shikamaru noticed as well, but didn't say anything because it would be too troublesome for him. Figures, both Naruto and Yukino thought while mentally sighed. Yukino thought pretty hard before answering. I'll tell you after we reach the tower. Naruto didn't respond. He really didn't want to tell Ino because 1, she didn't need to know anyway, and 2, she would then confront his team, that would cause them to go slower, plus he really needed to talk to the Hokage about Orochimaru and the seal he had put on him and Sasuke. Ino frowned at Yukino, clearly not liking the answer. She then looked towards Naruto, but he didn't respond and she pouted at him. HMPH, fine. I expect the both of you to tell me as soon as we get inside the tower then. Her tone left no room for argument, and Naruto and Yukino really didn't feel like talking about what happened, but they nodded knowing they couldn't get out of it. Soon enough everyone minus Sasuke gathered around the fire, and soon the dinner was eaten, and everyone drew lots to see who would take watch. Naruto had gotten the second to last watch with Choji taking the last spot. Shikamaru would start off, with Ino going next, then Sasuke followed by Sakura, then Yukino. Soon the night passed and Yukino went towards Naruto telling him it was his turn to keep watch. He went to a well-hidden branch, made 4 clones to patrol for him, and meditated until it was finally Choji's turn. The group woke up just before dawn as they made their way towards the tower. As they were going to the tower, Naruto felt something was off. He was feeling his senses go haywire. He stopped moving and put a hand to his head trying to compose himself. Atra saw how Naruto was acting and immediately felt worried and called out to the group by meowing because she can't afford anyone hearing her speak. The others heard Katra meowing and stopped to look back and see Naruto had his hand on his head crouching down. Yukino and Ino got worried and quickly went towards him. Naruto, what's wrong? Yukino said, worried. Naruto stood up slowly and looked around wary of his surroundings. We've been put in a genjutsu, he said, surprising the others as they went towards him. Are you sure? Yukino said and Naruto nodded. How would you know? Sasuke said. Yukino and Kabuto put their hands together and shouted release and confirmed that they were in a genjutsu. Sasuke glared at Naruto before releasing the genjutsu himself as the others followed suit. The group was on guard as a voice spoke out and 3 figures rose from the ground. So you noticed the genjutsu, huh? That's surprising coming from you of all people. Well, it doesn't matter, we will be taking your scrolls from you now. The middle ninja said. Pointing at Naruto, whose expression didn't change from that comment, he noticed that all the genins were wearing respirators and were from the Rain Village. They all had on a tan jumpsuit and masks around their eyes, with the one on the left covering one eye and the one on the right covering both eyes. The middle one had 2 eye holes and was glaring at the group. Sasuke stepped forward. You sure you can take all 7 of us at once? We outnumber you, Sasuke said, knowing they had the upper hand in numbers, with the others agreeing. No sooner than he said that, the enemies started to appear from the ground and sprouting from the tree surrounding them. You just had to say something, Shikamaru said to Sasuke with a deadpan expression. TCH. What are they? Sakura asked. It seems to be some type of clones that come out of the ground and trees, there's a lot of them, to Yukino replied, getting into a fighting stance. Haha, like cornered rats, one of Clone Rain Ninja said behind Naruto. Naruto quickly delivered a spinning kick to the clone's head and was surprised when it just went through it easily and it started to change into a black sludge. This surprised and disturbed the others as these weren't ordinary clones they were dealing with. What the heck? Ino said, taking a step back. What's going on? Sasuke thought, trying to make sense of this. We need to think of something fast, Choji said. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Patra, I need you to get in my jacket so you can be safe. Things are about to get crazy, Naruto whispered, and Katra nodded. Okay, but be careful, she said, and Naruto nodded. Looks like this is unavoidable, he thought. Naruto looked around them, and it seems to be only 40 clones surrounding them. 3 of these has to be the real Rain Ninjas, and the others are just clones or illusions. But I can't tell which one, Naruto thought again and looked down at his stomach. Thanks to this seal, I can't put more chakra into my jutsus. I guess this will have to do for now. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto said, making a hand sign, and 20 clones of Naruto appeared and rushed at the other enemy's clones. Sharingan. Sasuke said, activating his bloodline limit. One of the enemy clones turned towards Sasuke and brought out a double-sided kunai and threw it at him. Sasuke tried to move out the way, but for some reason, he couldn't. What's happening? Sasuke thought as he felt a throbbing pain on his neck. Sasuke. Both Yukino and Sakura shouted. Get down. Kabuto exclaimed as he pushed Sasuke down, but ended up getting cut on the arm. Kabuto grunted in pain as he got back up while Yukino helped Sasuke sit up. He was wondering why he couldn't move his body. Naruto took this chance and threw a kunai at the clone, who threw the double-sided kunai and it hit, but it just went right through him like before and it sunk to the ground. What? If that wasn't one of them and that was just an illusion, then why? Naruto thought, looking at the cut on Kabuto's arm. Naruto then thought about something. If I can conjure my dark powers from my soul to my body, then does that mean I can enhance anything through my body? Including my senses as well? It's worth a shot. Naruto then closed his eyes and started to concentrate. He started to feel his dark powers spreading throughout his body. Naruto. Ino said, gathering the attention of the others as they saw Naruto just standing there with his eyes closed. Naruto ignored her and concentrated more. He can feel the power flowing through him as he can sense everyone in the area around him now. Every single clone is a fake, the real ones are hiding like the cowards they are, he thought. Naruto, you have to calm down, if you don't the darkness will. Karen tried to explain. But Naruto wasn't listening. The darkness was slowly corrupting him as he concentrated more on his darkness. The others just watched Naruto silently as a dark aura then surrounded him. They were confused on what was going on except, it's the same. Ino muttered wide-eyed. What do you mean, Ino? Yukino asked, not taking her eyes off of Naruto. The same feeling I felt when Naruto first showed up. It was when Sasuke was about to deal with that last sound. Ninja Ino explained. Everyone's widen at that except Kabuto, who was confused. What are they talking about and what's happening with Naruto? Did he do something to him as well? Naruto. Snap out of it. Karen said again, but it was futile. Naruto couldn't hear his partner. Just then movement came from Naruto's jacket as Katra jumped out and ran towards the group and ran into Yukino's arms, which surprised her. Oh no, he's being corrupted if he keeps this up, Katra thought. Naruto was concentrating even more. This power he felt inside of him, it was endless and it felt great for him. Most there. In the far distance the three Rain Ninja was watching the whole thing play out when Naruto just closed his eyes, not moving. What's up with that guy? The lead Rain Ninja in hiding said to his teammates. Not sure, but whatever is going on with him, he won't be able to defeat us, said the other one. Yeah, you're right. The Rain Ninja just sat back and waited. Back to the others, Kabuto wanted to ask what happened with Naruto because they seemed to know what's going to happen. Hey, what are you guys talking about? Kabuto started but was cut off by Naruto. The sun was shining bright across the shinobi world as the start of a new day. Above in the sky was a large island of rock and earth, held aloft from the ground as it was floating around the land using highly advanced technology propellers. There was a huge one on the bottom of the island as it was hoisting it up, and on the sides of the island were two keeping it steady, and in the back were four small propellers so it can turn in certain directions if needed. On top of the island was surrounded by small mountains, hills, trees, even a small lake, truly a beautiful sight if you can see it. In the middle of all that was a town. The town itself was beautiful with a huge tree in the center of it. You can see many houses and structures scattered around, along with some people walking on stone pathways and some decorating buildings for something. There were also small rivers that needed bridges so that they can walk across. The townspeople were decorating their houses with some unusual designs. Stuff like pumpkins with scary faces, kinda, what looked like a woman with a weird nose in a black dress and a black hat riding on a broomstick. Either way the town lay peaceful and serene. Boom, well almost. Sigh. There at it again, a woman with long brown hair tied to a ponytail. She was wearing a white and brown dress with some blue on the bottom of the dress. She sighed while putting the finishing touches on her house. She was putting what looked like cobwebs on her windowsill and done. She said again, putting her hands together happily as she looked at her house that was decorated. Mom. A small child came out of the house with the same brown hair as the woman. He ran towards her, getting her attention. Mom, look. The kid said, holding up a small pumpkin that had a face. I did it. Good job, Ku, the woman said to the child named Ku as he smiled. Oh, freshen up, okay? We still have a lot to do before tonight, the woman said to Ku, who nodded and went back inside the house. Hello, Helena, a strong but soft voice said behind the woman named Helena as she looked back to see who greeted her. Helena saw there was a beast person in front of her, precisely a lion humanoid. He had on a blue pauldron with a little bit of gold on the edges protecting his shoulder. He also had some bandages on his stomach and it was guarded by some blue armor, and on his hip he has a small hammer that is used for blacksmithing. Oh, hello Baron, how are you doing? Helena asked with a smile. I'm doing fine, just helping some people with some stuff and had to get some last-minute supplies for tonight, Baron replied while holding a crate of decorations. Helena nodded. That's nice of you. How are things going so far? She asked. Everything is going smoothly. By the way, I haven't seen those two this morning. Do you happen to know where they are? He asked. Boom. Helena didn't get the chance to answer because they heard an explosion off in the distance and she sighed again. Does that answer your question? she asked and Baron chuckled in amusement. I swear those two, I'm worried they might push themselves too hard she said worried. You don't have to worry, I'm sure they'll watch over them if things go too far Baron reassured. The two just stared at a certain direction for a few seconds when they heard a door open. Mom, I'm ready. Ku said coming out. We should get going, we still have the tavern to decorate after all, Helena said facing Baron who nodded. Yeah I still have my shop to decorate as well, I'll see you two tonight he replied walking away while waving. See you tonight Helena and Ku waved and started to go their separate way as well. A far distance away from the town there was a huge open field surrounded by nothing but trees. They were two figures laying down next to each other, with one of the figures' head on the other one's shoulder, as they had their eyes closed, one had black hair with a little bit of red, and the other one had long silver white hair flowing as the wind blew. They were Karen and Iris. Do you think we should stop them now Iris asked in a soft voice. Karen opened his eyes and looked at a certain direction a few seconds. Let's give them a few more minutes he said closing his eyes and putting his head on Iris. Iris smiled snuggled up against Karen and interlocked her hands with his as they laid there together feeling each other's presence. In the forest there was slashes of black and white as they made some sparks. Just then there was a blur of red and white as two figures were sprinting at high speeds while jumping from tree to tree. One of the figures was a male and had a red and blue jacket with a hoodie that covered the figure's face. They also had a white shirt under their jacket, dark brown pants with a red belt, light brown fingerless gloves, two pouches on his side, and one on his lower right knee. He also had brown combat boots. The figure was holding a black and red sword, long aft. The other figure was a female with long white bluish hair. She had on black and white dress that showed off her shoulders and legs. It was covering her arms. On her chest, a hem was covered with the black cloth of the dress, and on the main body, an hem was all white and had on blue boots. In her hair she had on a cute blue bow. It felt wrong writing this. She was holding a blue and gold staff that at the top it was circled, and a jewel was connected in the middle of it. It was Celeste. Both the figure and Celeste were moving so fast that if it was just a normal person they would just see blurs of red and white moving. They were now in the huge open field staring at each other breathing slightly. The figure took off his hood to reveal spiky yellow blonde hair, blue eyes, and 3 whisker marks on each cheek. It was Naruto. Both Naruto and Celeste stared at each other. Celeste's staff began to glow and change into a silver and blue sword and got into a stance, and so did Naruto. Both had a determined look in their eyes as they smiled at each other. They then charged at each other, they closed the distance fast, and they both swung their swords together making them connect. Clang. Naruto and Celeste were in a clash with their swords they tried to overpower one another. Their clash was broken, and Naruto swung at Celeste, and she blocked his attack, and she returned the favor to him in full. Naruto blocked her attempts at making contact to him. When she brought her sword down Naruto faked her out by making it seem like he was going to connect their swords again to block, but at the last moment he pulled his sword back and moved to the side, making her sword go all the way down, causing her to tremble. Naruto used this chance to strike. He drew his sword back, and it glowed white as he brought it down towards her. Sadly it didn't connect as her reaction time was impressive. She jumped back making some distance between them. Celeste then let out her white feathered wings and went into the air. Naruto saw this and lifted his hand out as small balls of dark energy appeared and he shot some at her as she flew around to dodge the projectiles. Once she got away she summoned some of her light energy and sent balls of light at Naruto. He dodged every one of them as dark energy was starting to surround his hand again. Once he got away he lifted his hand and black chains came from his hand and it wrapped around her left leg, pulling her down towards him. Celeste went wide-eyed but quickly used her sword to slash the chains in half, setting her free. Naruto then charged at her, while Celeste landed. Naruto's sword began to glow again as he swung at Celeste as she just dodges. Naruto then did a spin with his sword, while Celeste jumped backwards, evading his attack. They clashed their sword again, but this time kicked each other, sending them both back a good distance. They both stood up. Naruto put his hands together and was gathering dark energy into his hands, while Celeste did the same thing with her light energy. Both of them put their hands out, and they sent their energies to each other making a beam of black and white. Karen and Iris opened their eyes and then disappeared. As the two beams of energy were coming closer towards each other, all of a sudden, boom, there was a dust of smoke that covered the area. After the dust dispersed both Naruto and Celeste saw their respective teachers and partners back to back in front of them. I think that's enough for today, Karen said to the two of them as they both nodded. Naruto put his sword in his scabbard, while Celeste's sword glowed and it turned back into a staff. They then walked towards each other. How did we do? Celeste asked. You did excellent. Especially you Naruto, you've grown a lot, Iris said turning to Naruto who nodded. Iris is right Naruto. You're learning pretty quickly, at some point you will either be at the same level or even surpass me. Celeste said with a smile getting close to Naruto who smiled in return. Thank you Celeste, Iris, but I know I still got a long way to go he said chuckling at the end and they smiled warmly at him. You will, you just have to keep training. But don't push yourself too hard, Karen said towards Naruto, and the two girls nodded at that. Naruto smiled at them and nodded. We should probably get back to town so that me and Celeste can freshen up, Naruto said, and they nodded. They began to walk back into town. As they walked into town they were greeted with smiles and waves from the people, and some were their friends, which they reciprocated. Although they were confused on what was going on, they saw people decorating their houses or a building, and were wondering if there was going to be a festival or a special event. They wanted to ask questions, but decided to do it after they freshened up. After they freshened up and got ready, they decided to go around the town with Karen and Iris, walking with them to see different decorations. Eventually they ran into one of their friends. "Hello Toby," Celeste greeted with a smile as their friend turned around to them. Toby was a half-beast person. She had white hair, with white fluffy cat ears, she had tanned skin, and white cat paws for hands and legs and a white tail. She was wearing a brown and black patterned cloth that covered her chest, but it showed off her stomach, and she has another cloth that covered her hip area and black leggings. "Oh. Celeste, Naruto, Karen and Iris too, hello," she exclaimed with a smile. "Hello Toby, do you know what's going on? Why is everyone decorating?" Naruto said, and Toby looked confused for a moment and then remembered. "It's for Halloween, of course," she exclaimed. The group was confused. They never heard of Halloween before. Granted, on October 31st Naruto's village used to do a festival of some kind, but he never went to it. "Halloween? What's he said?" with the others agreeing. This surprised Toby. "You never heard of Halloween?" she said, and the group shook their heads. "Do you think you can tell us what Halloween is?" Iris said beside Karen. She made a thinking pose. "Well, I'll try my best to tell you what it's about," she said, and everyone nodded. Halloween is celebrated by both adults and kids. It's where they dress up in different costumes and go door to door in their neighborhood asking for candy. It's called trick-or-treating. Some also host a Halloween party so that they can spend time with friends and family, Toby explained. "So that's why people are decorating," Karen said, looking around. "Well, I have to say these are some unusual decorations," Iris commented. "Yeah, like fake webs on the windowsills and bushes. I didn't even know they made stuff like this," Naruto said, and Toby nodded. "Yep. There's also going to be a Halloween party tonight to celebrate, and everyone can come," she said, excited. "Oh really? Then we'll make sure to come," Celeste said. "But we need to wear a costume or something to bring," Naruto asked Aunt Toby, and she thought about it. "Well, you don't have to if you don't want, but I think it would be more fun if you did. I'm going to be dressed up as well," Toby said. "In that case, do you know where to get a costume?" Celeste asked. "Oh, I know a good place, follow me," Toby said, making a gesture to follow her, and they did. After a few minutes of walking they stopped at a store with a whole bunch of costumes inside. "This is the place where I got mine, so you can get yours too," Toby said, gesturing to the store. "They seem to have a lot of costumes available," Iris said, and everyone nodded. They then walked into the store and were greeted by the store owner, who greeted them, and they did the same. "You guys going to the party tonight?" the owner asked. "Yes, we just came to get a costume before it was too late," Celeste said. "Well, feel free to pick anything you want. We have a whole variety of costumes," he said, gesturing to the costumes, and they nodded and went to look through them. "We'll go look in the girls section," Celeste said, and the two boys nodded and went to their section. "Do you have any recommendations, Toby, because I'm still new to this?" Celeste asked, with Iris agreeing, and she thought about it for a moment and looked towards a costume that had a black hat and a black dress with a pair of black boots, and on the package said "witch." "How about you two try this one?" she said, picking out the two costume. Celeste and Iris looked at the costume Toby picked out. "The witch? Yeah. Go try it on," Toby said, pushing Celeste and Iris into the changing room. "Oh okay." In the boys section, Naruto and Karen were looking through the different costumes the store had. "I think I might go with this one," Karen said, holding up a costume. It had a black and red cape with a black and gray shirt, black pants and shoes, and it also came with a set of teeth, but two of them were sharp. On the package it says vampire. "That's a good choice. There's a changing room right there so you can try it on," Naruto said, and Karen nodded. Naruto was having a hard time picking what he would wear to the party. "Do you need help picking out something?" Toby said, walking towards Naruto, making him look towards her. "Yeah. I'm still new to this and I don't know what to wear. I'm trying to not mess anything up," he said, scratching his head. "You won't mess anything up. Here, I'll help you pick out something," she said, looking through the costumes. "Thank you." After a little bit, Toby pulled out a costume. "Here, what about this?" she said, showing it to Naruto. Naruto looked at what Toby pulled out. The costume had a formal black trench coat with a red handkerchief with a gray shirt. It also had black pants with black dress shoes, and it had a black and white mask. On the package it says Phantom Thief, Persona 5 Joker costume. "Sure, I'll try it on," Naruto said, heading towards the changing room, while Toby waited for them to get out. A few minutes later, Naruto and Karen walked out of the changing room in their costumes. Naruto wore the Phantom Thief outfit without the mask, and Karen wore the vampire outfit without the teeth. "Wow. You two look great," Tabi said, giving them a thumbs up. Thanks, it actually suits me too, Naruto said, looking through a mirror to see what he looked like with Karen doing the same here. Wow, you guys look good, Iris said from behind them. The boys looked back to see Celeste and Iris in fire costumes. Both Celeste and Iris were in the witch costume. They had the black witch hat on and a dress and boots as well, but the hat and suit itself had purple sparkles on them, making them look beautiful. Naruto and Karen just stared at them speechless. The girls began to get nervous because of the lack of response. "They don't just stand fire, how do we look?" Celeste said, making Naruto and Karen snap out of fire thoughts. Beautiful, beautiful, they both said at the same time. Both girls blushed at the comment they received from the boys and smiled at them. Tabi was going to tease them, but thought against it. They were right to say they were beautiful, and Tabi didn't deny it. They looked absolutely stunning in fire costumes. Thanks, you look handsome as well, Naruto, Celeste said, and Iris said the same thing towards Karen, making both of them blushed in response. Alright. Now that we got your costumes, we can check out now, Tabi said, and the group nodded and went back into the changing room to change out of fire costumes and in fire normal clothes. The group paid for fire stuff and said fire goodbyes to the store owner as they left. "Hey, do you guys want to help decorate for the party?" Tabi said. "Sure, we have plenty of time to spare anyway," Naruto said with a small smile. "Yeah, it would be fun decorating with everyone," Celeste said, smiling. "Where is the party going to be held?" Karen asked. I believe Baron said it would be held at the big tree in the center of the town, so we should probably head over there," Tabi said, pointing towards the huge tree, and they nodded. The group started heading to the central part of the town. While they were walking, they were checking out the different Halloween decorations people have put up. It was truly amazing, almost like this was a Halloween town. The group then finally made it to the tree as they saw some of Fire friends helping decorate the tree and putting up tables and stalls for the food they will have. "Hey, you four, glad you can make it," Baron said, walking towards them. "Hey, Baron," Tabi greeted. "Hello to you, Baron. Do you need any help setting up some decorations? We can help if you want," Celeste asked. "Yeah, we still got plenty to do before tonight. Thanks for your help, I really appreciate it," he replied. "What do you want us to do first?" Iris asked. "Well, we still have some more decorations to put up, and then there's the food that needs to be made, which is being prepared now. Some people are bringing their own dish as well." "Okay, me, Iris and Tabi can help with the preparations with the food," Celeste said. "Me and Karen will help with the decorations," Naruto said, and Baron nodded. So the group went to go help with the preparations for the party. Celeste and Iris helped Helena and some girls with the food and desserts. Naruto and Karen helped with the decorations, and with Naruto's shadow clones it went much faster. He even sent some of his clones to where the girls were preparing the food, which was a huge help for them as everything was now ready for tonight. They have been working for a couple of hours, and the sun was about to set as some people started to arrive. Some people started to put fire dishes on the table as Celeste and some girls brought out the food for the party on the table and some candy. Naruto and Karen were now putting the finishing touches on the decorations, and the final one was a huge carved pumpkin that will be on a pillar so that it can be lit as a sign to start the party. The sun was now down as everyone began to put on fire costumes, while more people showed up with fire costumes. It was now time to begin. "Hello everyone, I'm pleased to see so many of you here for our first ever Halloween party," Baron said aloud, making the crowd cheer. "Now before we start, we first have to light the giant jack-o'-lantern as a sign to start the first and many more Halloween party," he said, again pointing at the huge pumpkin, and everyone cheered. "Now I would like for Naruto and Celeste to come up real quick." Naruto and Celeste were confused, but they complied and went to the front, while Karen and Iris sat on top of a building together looking down at their partner friends. "Would it be okay with you two if you could light the jack-o'-lantern?" Baron asked them. They were shocked that he wants them to light the jack-o'-lantern. Naruto and Celeste looked at each other and then back to Baron. "Are you sure you want us to light the jack-o'-lantern, Baron?" Celeste asked, and he nodded. "Yes, I actually heard from Tabi that you two didn't know about Halloween, and since this is your very first time celebrating Halloween, I thought maybe you two should be the first to start it off," Baron explained. Naruto and Celeste looked down in thought and looked at each other before smiling at each other. "We would be honored to do it," Naruto said, and Celeste nodded. "Great. Now take this," Baron said, giving them a metallic torch. "I forged this so that all you need to do is channel your energy into it and it will spark up a flame so you can light the pumpkin," Baron explained, and they nodded. Naruto and Celeste walked towards the big carved pumpkin while everyone watched. "You ready?" Naruto asked while holding the torch for Celeste to grab with him. Celeste smiled and nodded absolutely. She then interlocked her hands with Naruto's as they were now holding the torch together. Naruto and Celeste then started to channel fire, light and dark energy into the torch. The two energies started to intertwine together, making a couple of sparks as they both raised up into the air. When light and darkness come together, Naruto said. The gates of chaos are unlocked, Celeste said. By dark and light. By light and dark. Together we open the door to a new future of hope and love. Together we shall protect the balance of light and darkness. Naruto and Celeste looked at each other and said. Together we shall promise you all a future that shines of black and white. Then a flash of black and white illuminated the area, blinding the crowd of people. Karen and Iris had smiles on their faces as they were watching Naruto and Celeste. Once the two flashes died down, everyone turned their attention towards Naruto and Celeste, and then to the torch that now had a white and black flame on the tip of it. Naruto and Celeste looked at each other and smiled and brought the torch to the center of the pumpkin, and then, flash, the pumpkin was now lit, signaling the start of the first Halloween party, and everyone cheered excitedly. Naruto and Celeste looked at each other and laughed. Iris put her head on Karen's shoulder as they watched. The party went good for everyone. Everyone had their share of food and desserts, and of course for the kids candy. They're probably not going to sleep tonight. Everyone had a fun time talking and eating, making their bond stronger with each other. Naruto looked around and saw everyone just having fun. He saw his friends talking with each other, even bobbing for apples that made everyone laugh. He was really happy, so happy he didn't feel the tears that were forming in his eyes. Naruto, a voice said behind him. Naruto looked back to see Celeste with a worried expression. "Oh hey Celeste, what's wrong?" he asked. "I should be asking you that," she replied. Naruto was confused as to why Celeste said that. She then walked towards him and lifted her hand towards his face and wiped some tears from his eyes and showed him. Naruto was surprised and quickly wiped away his tears he didn't know he had. "Sorry to worry you, I'm just so happy right now," he said, smiling at her. "Happy?" she asked, and he nodded. "Yeah, just being with everyone here right now makes me happy. I'm glad I'm here with everyone, especially you," Naruto said, looking from his friends and then to Celeste. Celeste was stunned with a blush. She quickly snapped out of it and smiled at Naruto. She went towards him and leaned towards him and gave him a quick kiss on the cheek, which made him go wide-eyed. She took his hand in hers and dragged him towards their friends. "Come on Naruto, everyone's waiting," she said, and Naruto shook his head and nodded with a smile. "Alright." On top of a building, Karen and Iris saw the whole thing happen and smiled at them. "You know, they kinda remind me of us," Karen said, taking Iris' hand. "They do, don't they?" Iris asked, and Karen nodded. "You know, the way Naruto looks at Celeste reminds me of something," Iris said, getting Karen's attention. "What does it remind you of?" he asked, and Iris looked at him. "It reminds me of how you looked at me back then," she says, leaning into him, making him blush slightly. Oh really? Yeah, it does seem like it," Karen said, stuttering a little bit, making Iris chuckle. They both just leaned into each other, enjoying each other's company. "I don't understand why I have to wear this," a voice said behind them. They looked back to see Catra coming towards them with her costume on. She had on a pink outfit with a tutu. She had two wings on the back, one black one, and the other one is white. She even had a little halo on her head. "Oh Catra, you look so adorable," Iris said, clapping her hands together. Apparently Iris managed to find a cute outfit for Catra while she was looking for her own costume. Catra blushed at the comment, making her HMPH in response. "This is the only time I'm dressing up," she said, getting on Karen's head, laying down. "Whatever you say Catra," Karen said, but then he and Iris shared a look that saying this is not going to be the last time. They both laughed. "We should probably get down there already," Karen said, making Iris nod. "I don't want to go," Catra said. Now Catra, don't say that, who knows, they might have fish at the food table," Iris said. "What are we waiting for, let's go." Catra cheered at the mention of fish. They all laughed. As they were about to get up, Iris suddenly spoke. "Oh Karen, we almost forgot something," she said, and Karen had a confused face before remembering as well. "Oh right. Almost forgot," he said. Karen, Iris and Catra all turned towards you. "Hey everyone, before we go, I hope you enjoyed this special Halloween chapter," Karen said. "Yeah, I can't believe the author managed to get this out on time," Iris said. "I thought he would be done the day after Halloween, but he managed to do it. Good job, author," Catra said. "Yes, well done. Also I hope you guys have a happy Halloween," Karen said. "Make sure you all stay safe out there," Iris said. "And get lots of candy," Catra said, and they chuckled. "Oh, also, what do you guys think is my favorite candy? Whoever gets it right will get a shout out in the next chapter," Catra said. "Well, we'll see you guys later," Karen said. "Bye-bye," Iris waved at you. "See ya," Catra said. Naruto opened his eyes and they're were now green as a burst of dark power that came from him, making everyone be pushed back by the wind, and all the clones were simply sweep away as they were now gone like they were never there. Naruto was now surrounded by dark energy. The others sat up slowly and looked to where Naruto was supposed to be. But there was only a black misty figure. From the figure there were two glowing green eyes looking in a certain direction, precisely where the three rain ninja were right now. Just then, starting from the bottom of the figure's feet, it began to break apart the dark mist almost like glass, revealing a pair of black shinobi sandals. Going up revealed black and red pants that looked familiar to the group. It then continued to where it revealed a black and red jumpsuit. Then it went to its face to be revealed as Naruto with his eyes closed, and all that's left was his hair that was glowing black. It then dissipated to show Naruto with black hair with a few red strips, he then opened his eyes to show it's still green. The group was surprised at Naruto's transformation, Kabuto was more surprised at it. This power, what is it? It's too powerful even for him. If he gave Naruto the curse mark then no. This is way too powerful even from the curse mark. What is going on here, Kabuto thought, trying to make sense on what's happening. It's the same thing from before, Choji thought, stunned. This feeling, it's telling me to run away, but Ino said, trembling. What is this? Shikamaru said. Sakura and Yukino were silent, just staring at Naruto with a shocked expression. This power, it's the same when me and Sakura felt that huge burst of power, so that was Naruto. Yukino thought. Is this really Naruto? Sasuke thought. Step. They were broken out of fire thoughts by Naruto, who took a step forward. He looked at his hands as they began to surround in dark energy. He looked up again in the direction of the rain ninja and placed his hands on the ground. Crack. Black chains came out of the ground, surprising the group, and shot towards where the rain ninja were. The chains made contact as they were immobilized. What the hell is this? The lead rain ninja said, surprised. Where did these chains come from? The other said. Naruto then stood up and put his hand out towards the direction of the rain ninjas while dark energy was gathered, and out came another pair of black chains that surrounded the ninjas as a whole. Naruto then pulled his arm back, causing the chains to pull the three rain ninjas into the clearing. The three glared at Naruto, but he didn't even change his expression as he looked at them. This kid's different from before, one of the rain ninjas said, trying to get up. It doesn't matter, once we get out of these chains, we'll send everything we have at him, the leader said with narrowed eyes. He got what he wanted as the chains just disappeared, letting them free. Well, it seems I got what I wanted, the leader said. More illusion clones started to appear and surround Naruto as they each brought out a double-sided kunai, and one of them threw some shuriken at him. Naruto! Yukino shouted. Dark energy began to cloak around Naruto's hands and arms on both sides. Just then two black armored gauntlets with claws appeared. This surprised the group. Where did those gauntlets come from? Choji asked, but no one answered him, they were too focused on the fight. Naruto then reflected all the shuriken with just one gauntlet. The clones began to charge at him with fire kunai. Naruto charged as well. He began his assault on the clones as he slashed and punched them every chance he got. Naruto was like a black blur as he maneuvered throughout the entire area, with everyone hardly able to keep up with him. The moment he came close to an illusion clone, he either did a punch or a slash. He didn't even wait to see what would happen next as he continued his assault at great speeds. He did the exact same thing to every other clone he came across until there was none left. The onlookers were surprised at the way Naruto is dealing with the clones. Whoa. He's so fast, I would say even faster than before. Choji said. He's even flexible enough to dodge the clones whenever they're about to attack him, Shikamaru said. That's weird. Sakura muttered. What's weird? Ino asked. Whenever these illusions get damaged they would just make some black sludge, but when Naruto hit them, it just vanished, Yukino said. Indeed, when Naruto kept punching or slashing at the clones, they did not turn into black sludge like they did, but it just disappeared. What? The lead rain ninja said in surprise and turned towards one of his teammates. What's going on? Why aren't there any more illusions appearing? I'm trying, but something is messing with the Jinjutsu. His teammate said back. Everyone looked at Naruto in surprise. It took them a great effort just to hold off those illusions, but Naruto was able to make quick work of them with what appeared to be little effort. That was something, Kabuto said. He wasn't even sure what he was witnessing. Naruto, Yukino muttered. Naruto, where did that power come from? Sasuke thought. That's done, Naruto said as he looked at the three rain ninja. His voice made everyone shiver. They never heard Naruto talk like that before. DRRR, don't underestimate us, you brat. Take this, said one of the rain ninja, shouted at Naruto. Wait, hold on. The lead rain ninja said. The rain ninja charged at him, but Naruto wasn't worried at all. He then channeled dark energy to his legs, and now he manifested black armored boots and kneecaps. As the enemy got close, Naruto punched him in the stomach with the black gauntlet, with such strength that made the ninja choke out blood. Naruto wasn't done as he then kneed the rain ninja in the stomach, making them fall back. Naruto then did a spinning kick to the rain ninja's head, sending him towards a tree, making a crack. Now the ninja was now unconscious. The scene disturbed Yukino and the others. They didn't know Naruto could be so brutal towards the enemy team. Yukino was having flashbacks of her time with Naruto, how he was smiling and always full of energy, and just seeing him now. You bastard. The other rain ninja charged towards Naruto. Wait. The leader called out. The rain ninja, out of rage, engaged Naruto in a taijutsu battle, but was failing at getting a hit on Naruto, who just kept dodging. Oh yeah, then how about this? The rain ninja made some hand signs, water style. Water pellet. The rain ninja shot a big bullet of water towards Naruto at high speed. Naruto. The group shouted towards him. Naruto didn't flinch as he simply brought his right gauntlet up and a black and red ball of energy formed and he sent it towards the water bullet. Everyone braced themselves for the explosion, but it never happened. Instead, Naruto's black and red energy ball went through the bullet of water, cancelling it out as it went to the wide-eyed rain ninja. What? The ninja braced himself as the projectile came and exploded near him and he crashed into a tree hard. The rain ninja slowly stood up as he glared angrily at Naruto. Naruto stared at the ninja before charging. In a panic the ninja tried to hit Naruto, but he ducked and used his gauntlet's claws to pierce his arm that the rain ninja tried to him with, then pierced his side and elbowed his face. Naruto then used his legs to make the ninja turn sideways, as he then made himself spin along with the rain ninja. After a few moments Naruto brought his leg down on the ninja's head as he was slammed to the ground making him unconscious. Everyone was stunned as Naruto looked towards the final rain ninja. Only one left, he said. Yukino just stared at Naruto. No, this isn't you. TCH, don't think I'm that easy to take down like those idiots. The leader shouted and charged at Naruto. No. Naruto just stood fire waiting as he looked at the rain ninja. TCH. Don't look down on me. The lead rain ninja said and threw some kunai and shuriken. Naruto pulled out his own kunai and shuriken and channeled some of his dark energy into it, making it have a dark aura around them. He then threw it at the incoming projectiles. No. Once they made contact Naruto's own kunai and shuriken made the enemy's kunai and shuriken completely shatter like glass. It then went towards the rain ninja, cutting him easily, and thankfully he dodged some of them, but now he felt a burning pain on his sides. No. Okay, then take this. The rain ninja made some hand signs. Water style. Sea Dragon Blast. The rain ninja opened his mouth and out came a stream of water that hurled towards Naruto. Naruto just looked at it while his armored gauntlets, boots and kneecaps disappeared off of him. Well, it looks like you don't have any protection now. The rain ninja made a remark. Naruto didn't change his expression as he lifted his hand as dark energy surrounded his hands. Bam. Haha. It looks like you weren't so tough after all, the ninja said. The group was surprised and worried that Naruto took the blow head on, or so they thought. They were surprised when they saw Naruto still standing, but in front was a huge black shield protecting him from the blast. TCH. Okay, you protected yourself, but who's going to protect your comrades? The rain ninja said with an evil smirk as Naruto's eyes widened. The group was surprised when the rain ninja made some new hand signs, and another stream of water came from his hand as he was aiming at the group. Oh no. Sakura said. Damn, I let my guard down, Kabuto said. The others were caught off guard and they can only put their hands up to guard themselves. They were waiting for the impact, but it never came. They only felt a little drizzle on their faces. They opened their eyes and were surprised to see a spinning black and red object and it was repelling the water away, protecting them. What? The rain ninja's attack ended and he can see that the group was unharmed. The spinning object began to slow down and it was revealed to be Naruto's sword that protected them. Wait, that's Naruto's sword. Ino said. It's from before, Shikamaru said. Not only that sword can cut through chakra, but it can repel it as well, Sasuke thought. The others looked towards Naruto, but they couldn't see his eyes as his hair was shadowing them. He then sticked his hand out, then the sword flew towards Naruto, which surprised the others. Naruto caught the sword easily and he spoke towards the final rain ninja. That was a mistake, Naruto said as he lifted his head and his eyes were glowing a menacing green glow. Naruto started to approach the rain ninja while staring intensely at him. Stay back. The rain ninja said in fear and threw a few more shuriken, but Naruto blocked it with his sword, making the shuriken shatter at the impact. Naruto stopped his advance, but then just disappeared as the others tried to figure out where he went but couldn't find him. Where did he go? Ino said looking around. Where is he? Yukino asked worried. I can't sense him anywhere, Kabuto said. Where did he? The rain ninja was cut off by a roaring pain in his back. Ahhhh. The rain ninja screamed and he fell down. This caught the group's attention and what they saw horrified them. Naruto stood behind the fallen ninja with his sword in his hand. The fallen rain ninja had a big red slash on his back. The group noticed that Naruto's sword had a little bit of blood on the tip of it. Yukino had her hands cover her mouth in shock and horror. She looked at Naruto, but his expression didn't change. She saw him look at the rain ninja as if he was nothing. Her image of the happy and kind Naruto started to crack. No. Naruto turned around to the rain ninja and grabbed him by his shirt and threw him towards his teammates. Naruto started to walk towards the ninja who was scared and tried to get away from him. Crack. Yukino's image of Naruto started to crack slowly in her mind. Wait, why you win alright here? The rain ninja threw fire scroll towards Naruto, who stopped and looked at the scroll that was thrown at him. It was Earth scroll. Everyone watched with bated breaths to see what Naruto would do next. The group and mostly Yukino hoped it was enough for him to stop and go back to normal. But they went wide-eyed when Naruto just looked up and walked past the scroll and continued onwards to the scared rain ninja. Yukino continued to watch Naruto walk towards the rain ninja. The longer it went, the more the image of Naruto still cracked in her mind. Yukino was too focused on Naruto to notice the tears falling down her face. She couldn't take watching Naruto act like this. This was not like the Naruto she knew, this was not the kind or caring childhood friend that she knew and loved. Seeing Naruto in such a state made her image of him crack more. Crack, no, crack, no. Naruto was now in front of the Rain Ninja with his teammates by his sides. He was looking down at him, he slowly raised his sword up. Wait, hold on. You are a coward that brings shame upon Fire Village. Crack, a coward that is willing to sacrifice anything to live, aren't you? Crack, and know why you're wrong. I'm wrong. Did you forget what you did? You just gave me your team's scroll. What if this was a real mission like they said? You had an important scroll for your village that you needed to protect at all cost, and you just suddenly gave it away to save yourself. Your selfish actions have costed the safety of your village and killed innocent people, Naruto said. Also, you think I'm going to let what you did slide? Naruto raised sword higher. Wow, I was the one fighting you, but you then drew the others into this, you tried to hurt them, Naruto said, bringing his sword higher. No, please stop, Yukino thought as her image Naruto continued to crack. Naruto Katra thought. Crack, please spare. You know I could kill you right now if I wanted to. Crack. Everyone gasped in shock of what Naruto said. He wasn't going to kill him, was he? This is an exam, after all the leaf won't be responsible for your death since it's common in these things, Naruto said. Crack. In fact that's what I'll do, Naruto said, getting ready to swing his sword down. Crack. Crack, crack, no, please. Naruto started to bring his sword down on the Rain Ninja. Stop. Yukino shouted with tears and ran towards Naruto. Then suddenly Naruto used his other hand to stop his sword from going down on the Rain Ninja as he was now shaking uncontrollable. No. Naruto's appearance was flickering from his dark attire to his regular one as he was struggling to keep the sword from going down. Damn, this always happens. Karen said. Karen? Naruto thought. Hold on, Naruto. I'm going to try and suppress the corruption, but I need Katra's help, Karen said. Naruto then felt someone embrace him from behind. He looked back to see Yukino clinging to him. She was in tears as Naruto looked at her. Yukino, he said. Please stop, just go back to how you were. Naruto was trying his best to control himself. He was kneeling down as if in pain. He then looked at Katra. Katra, he thought telepathically. Katra rushed towards the two in a hurry. Yes, Naruto. Katra said, worried. While Naruto and Katra were in the forest, Katra made a link connection with Naruto that way if either of them was separated, they can still contact each other, and the other reason is so that Katra doesn't talk in public and they can have private conversation. Karen is going to try and suppress my dark energy, but he needs your help in order to do that, Naruto explained, and Katra nodded. Katra started surrounding herself in light. This surprised the others. She then rushed towards Naruto's as they were engulfed in a bright light. The others couldn't see very well because of the light, but they could see that Naruto was changing back into his normal appearance, while Yukino still embraced him. Please Naruto, please come back to your senses. Yukino pleaded. Then for Naruto it was like time have stopped for him. He looked around to see everyone frozen. He then looked at himself and sees he still has his dark transformation on, but he could move freely now like he was now in full control of his body. He then sees a light from above and looks up to see a figure in white. He could tell it was a female, probably a little bigger than his current height. She had white bluish hair as far as he knew and silver eyes staring at his green ones. He can see a pair of white feathered wings on her back flapping as she descended down towards him. Naruto was captivated by her. She was the most beautiful girl he has ever seen before. Her aura was radiating a lot of light and he felt safe, like he felt welcomed by the aura and the girl. The girl now hovered over him as she placed her hands on his cheeks. Naruto subconsciously put his hand on top of hers and closed his eyes as he felt her touch. It was calming, like he can fall asleep at any moment. Naruto, the girl said softly, making Naruto widen his eyes in surprise. You know my name? He asked her and she nodded. Yes I do. What's yours? He asked, but the girl shook her head. It's too soon for you to know, but don't worry, we will see each other again, she said. Naruto, listen, I'm sorry, but we run out of time. You're leaving? He asked. Yes, I can only leave you with this. It isn't much, but it will let you control some of your darkness until you know how to master it, she explained. The girl then lifted Naruto's headband and connected their foreheads together. After the contact, there was a bright flash of light surrounding them. Time seemed to go forward again as Naruto opened his eyes and he couldn't see the girl anymore. He then looked down to see he was in his original attire. Well, half of it is. The other half of his clothing was still black and red and Katra asleep in his arms. He then laid down Katra and his hair to rest. Naruto, thanks goodness you're okay, Karen said. Karen, what happened? Naruto thought. You lost control of your darkness. I told you this will happen, Karen said and sighed. I'm sorry, Naruto said, looking down. Naruto felt Karen shake his head. Don't worry, I'm not upset. At some point I knew this would happen. I just didn't think it would happen so soon. But at least now you know what will happen if you don't have control of your darkness. It would slowly corrupted your mind, Karen said, and Naruto mentally nodded. Something has happened as well. It seems you can control some of your darkness already, Karen asked. Naruto remembered the girl from before and answered, actually, there was someone that allowed me to control some of my darkness. This surprised Karen. Really, who was it? Karen asked. I don't know, the thing is she didn't tell me her name, but she had white hair, Naruto said. Wait, white hair, could it be? It wasn't Iris, it was someone else, Naruto thought, cutting Karen off. Oh, I see, in that case I believe it must be her partner then that made contact with you, Karen said. Partner? So Iris has resided in someone as well, not just you, Naruto asked, and he felt Karen nod as his answer. I see, well, whoever her partner is, she helped you and Katra keep me under control of my darkness, and to add to that she managed to let me control some of my darkness better, Naruto thought. Seems that way, speaking of, you should look in a mirror or something, you can see reflection of, Karen said, confusing. Why? What happened? See for yourself, Naruto. Before Naruto could speak again, he turned around to see Yukino shaking a little and looking at him worried. Naruto forgot where he was for a moment and looked around to see Team 10, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kabuto all stare at him. He then looked where the three rain ninja were. The leader was shaking uncontrollable as he stared at him. He then turned towards the ground to see the sword of darkness. Naruto bent over to go pick it up, and everyone watched with bated breaths as he looked at the sword, or mostly at himself through the steel as it showed him his reflection. Naruto was surprised that half of his hair was yellow, while the other half was black with a little red and fire. He also saw his eyes as one was blue and the other green. I guess that explains why half of my clothes are black and red, Naruto thought. Naruto subconsciously stuck out his hand, summoned a black portal, making the sword of darkness go inside of it, making it disappear. Wait, it was that easy? I didn't even have to think about it all that much. Indeed, since you have some control over your darkness, it was easy to conjure up a portal for yourself. Just imagine if you had full control over it, Karen explained. I see, Naruto thought. Naruto, Yukino said again, breaking the blonde from his thoughts again. Naruto looked at Yukino for a moment. Sorry, it's nothing, he said, walking past her and towards the earth scroll. He picked it up and put it in his pouch. He then walked towards his group with Yukino. As they were about to say something, Naruto quickly said, whatever questions you're going to ask him, not going to answer them, he said, shutting them up. We wasted too much time here, we need to get going, Naruto said, walking past them and giving one last glance towards the three rain ninja and jumped towards a tree, with the others following him in silence, leaving the lead rain ninja there with his still unconscious teammates. The group were traveling for an hour now on their way towards the tower in an uncomfortable silence, with some of them casting glances towards Naruto, mostly Yukino. He noticed their gazes, but didn't give them any attention, as he was only focused on getting to the tower. Not being able to stand the silence anymore, Kabuto spoke up. That was some fine skills you showed back there, Naruto. I'm impressed, Kabuto complimented. Naruto looked at him and turned back around. Thanks, he replied back, and silence was over the group again, but Kabuto broke it. So what's up with that new look you got on? Kabuto asked, referring to Naruto's black and red side. It's nothing, Naruto replied. Are you sure? Yes, Naruto said, cutting Kabuto off. Before he could speak again, Naruto spoke up this time. What are you trying to get at? Naruto said, looking at Kabuto. Whoa. Sorry, I was just trying to cut through the tense silence here, Kabuto said, but Naruto knew he was lying. He was trying to get information on what that power was he displayed, but Naruto wasn't going to let him have it. Everyone just listened to their conversation and hoped that Naruto will tell them what that power was, especially Sasuke and Yukino, but he didn't tell them. Well, what you did really saved us a lot of trouble. We really owe you, Kabuto said, ending the subject. Yukino's and Sasuke's eyes narrowed at Kabuto. I see, Naruto said, and the group continued on their way. After what felt like forever, they saw a huge building surrounded by trees. It was the tower. Hey guys, look, it's the tower, Ino said excitedly. Finally, this exam has been such a drag, Shikamaru said, with everyone agreeing. Alright. Now we can take a much needed break, Sakura said, sighing. Once the group arrived at the tower, Kabuto was called over by the rest of his team as he said a quick bye and good luck. After that, Team 10 also said their goodbyes and left to enter through another door, but not before Ino whispered to the half-blonde and Yukino that she still wanted an explanation from them. Naruto told his team that they should go in first, as he gave the 2 scrolls they needed to pass the exam to Yukino, who was reluctant at first, but nodded, and they entered the building, leaving Naruto and a still sleeping Katra alone. I have to do something about this, he said, referring to his black and red half. He then closed his eyes and concentrated. He then felt his dark power leaving his body and back into his soul. He opened his eyes and looked down to see him in his full orange and blue jumpsuit. It really is an eyesore, Naruto said, cringing. Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything before, but Karen started to say. I don't want to hear it, sigh. I'm going to have to get a new pair of clothes soon, he thought, while ignoring Karen's chuckling in the back of his mind. He then took out a kunai and rubbed it a little bit so he can see himself, and looked to see his other eye was his normal blue again, along with his yellow hair. He sighed again. Naruto was about to go through the door his team went, but stopped and looked in the direction Kabuto and his team went. He was suspicious of Kabuto and made a decision to spy on them. He conjured up his dark powers again and looked at Katia, who was still asleep on his head, and he summoned a black cat with green eyes. After it appeared, it was then staring at Naruto. How ironic, Karen said, and Naruto ignored that comment and spoke to the cat in a whispered tone. Hey little guy, I want you to go sneak through that door right there and spy on some people for me, can you do that? Naruto asked the black cat in a whisper as he pointed his finger to the door. Kabuto and his team went in. The black cat nodded and went to do its task. But now that's taking care of, it's time to deal with this, Naruto thought as he went into the room his teammates were in. As Naruto walked through the door his team turned towards him and was surprised to see his black and red half gone. They wanted to ask what happened but thought against it. It was just Team 7 for the first time since the encounter with Orochimaru. Things were tense and Sakura read the message on the door as a way to ease the tensions. If qualities of heaven are your desire, acquire wisdom to take your mind higher. If earthly qualities are what you lack, train your body and prepare to attack. When heaven and earth are open together, the perilous path will become righteous forever. This something is the secret way that guides us from this place today. There's a word missing, Sakura added. Yukino and Sasuke just stayed quiet as they watched Sakura ponder the riddle. I think we're supposed to open and read the heaven and earth scrolls now, Naruto said, turning his team's attention towards him. What makes you say that? Sasuke asked. The riddle says if heaven and earth are open together then the perilous path will become righteous forever. I think we should open the scrolls since there's nothing else except the riddle in this room, Naruto explained. The others thought about it for a moment before nodding. All of Team 7 looked nervous and Naruto wasn't any different as Yukino brought out the 2 scrolls she was given and gave one of them to Naruto and kept one for herself. Yukino held the heaven scroll while Naruto had the earth scroll. Seeing how they reached the end with nothing else to do they didn't have a choice but to open the scrolls. Naruto looked at Yukino and she did the same with him. On 3 he said and she nodded. 1, 2, 3. Both Naruto and Yukino opened the scrolls at the same time and it revealed to be a summoning seal in the parchment. Naruto quickly took the scroll from Yukino and threw them on the ground when they started to smoke and pulled Yukino back towards him and soon the team heard a very familiar voice and Naruto let out a small smile. You guys just barely met the deadline, but I'm glad you made it. The smoke cleared completely and allowed them to see their scarred academy teacher. Haruka had a big smile on his face before he noticed Naruto's matured expression and growth in height. He also noticed a white cat sleeping on Naruto's head which surprised and confused him. Haruka-sensei. Both Yukino and Sakura said, surprised to see their old teacher in front of them, and he smiled at them. It's good to see you all again. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, the riddle on the door represents how to become a well-rounded ninja. It means if you lack heaven, which represents intelligence, that you should study to learn all you can. The other is fairly obvious, that those who lack earth, which represents bodily strength, should train to acquire what they lack. Haruka explained. Sakura and Yukino nodded, paying close attention to their old sensei, while Sasuke was paying half attention. Naruto nodded along with them. Now I'm happy to say you have all passed this part of the exam. I'm really proud of you for, especially you Naruto, you've grown physically and mentally, Haruka said to them. Thank you Haruka-sensei, Naruto said with a small smile. The next stage begins in about 1 hour, so take your time to rest before you're summoned. Good luck guys, I'm proud of you. Haruka was cut off by Naruto, who had a serious expression on his face. Hold on, I need to talk with you in private for a moment, can you spare some time? He asked. Haruka saw the serious expression on Naruto's face. He never seen Naruto serious before and it worried him maybe something happened. Sure, I can spare some time, he said, gesturing for Naruto to follow him, while his teammates just watched, wondering what they're going to talk about. So Naruto, what did you want to speak with me about? Also, who is the cat on your head? Haruka asked while chuckling. I found her in the forest alone and I didn't want anything to happen to it, he replied. Anyway, is it possible if I can speak with the old man Hokage about something? Naruto asked straight to the point. Haruka thought about it for a moment but then shook his head. Sorry Naruto, but it's impossible at the moment, but if you like I can relay the message that you want to speak with him. Haruka said. Naruto cursed in his mind. He wanted to meet with the old man as soon as possible. It's better than nothing. You can talk with him when the exams end, Karen said, and Naruto, though reluctant at first, mentally nodded after. Yeah, you're right, I was hoping to speak with him now, but I guess I can wait until later, he responded. Yeah, that'd be good, thank you, Naruto said, and Haruka nodded. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that your rooms are just right there behind those doors, Haruka said, pointing towards 2 doors before exploding in a cloud of smoke, disappearing. Naruto sighed and turned towards his team. Haruka-sensei said that's where we can rest, he said, and they nodded, heading towards the door. Naruto and his team went through the door and found 4 beds. How ironic, and 2 doors, one of them was open leading to a bathroom and the other was closed, he assumed was the entryway to where they needed to go. Naruto saw Sasuke go into the bathroom and close the door as he, Yukino and Sakura were left by themselves. Naruto moved to one of the beds and lifted Katra off his head and laid her down. He was about to do the same when Sakura interrupted him. Look Naruto, I'm sorry about what happened in the forest, Sakura said with Yukino beside her as they stood standing in the middle of the room. Naruto looked at Sakura, then to Yukino, who looked right back at him for a few seconds, then turned around. It doesn't matter anymore, Sakura. What's done is done, he replied. Sakura let out a small smile. Well, Yukino looked at Naruto, she can tell he didn't forgive them for what happened, but Sakura didn't know this. I'm glad you could forgive us at once, Sakura said, but Naruto cut her off. I don't forgive you, Sakura, not you, Yukino or Sasuke. Sakura froze and Yukino looked down, biting her lip. Yukino knew already Naruto wouldn't forgive them, but hearing him say it out loud still hurt, but she deserved it for leaving him. Sakura saw the expression on Yukino's face, and her face grew red with rage. What is your problem? I made a mistake and I've tried to apologize for it, but you just blow me off. We're supposed to be a team, you idiot. Sakura screamed out and went to walk towards Naruto, but was pulled back by Yukino, who shook her head. Please stop, Sakura, she said quietly. What do you mean, Yukino? I was trying to apologize, but he just doesn't care. I don't know what his problem is, she said. Naruto slowly turned around, looking at his two female teammates, and slowly walked towards them. Yukino and Sakura saw Naruto coming towards them with his hair shadowing his eyes, and they backed up until they fell on one of the beds. You're asking me what my problem is? He said, his voice was calm, and they can feel the pressure his words brought them. My problem, Sakura, is that my teammates abandoned me in the middle of a forest filled with dangerous man-eating animals and enemy ninjas. Naruto said, lifting his head to show bright green eyes staring at the two girls who were trembling. Then Naruto they started to say. Be quiet, Naruto interrupted. Drip drip. Yukino and Sakura were watching Naruto with wide eye as tears were falling from his face. Naruto looked at Yukino. I trusted you, I trusted this team with my life, I tried my very hardest to help this team, tried my hardest to not screw up on missions, all of it was so this team can succeed, Naruto said.